Oh, hi everybody and welcome. This is the Apostate Prophet. Hope everybody is having a fantastic day. David, what's up? How you doing, man?
What's up? Sharing the link, ladies and gentlemen. Sharing the link on the Twitters and the other things.
Shimmer, sharing the link. What are you laughing at?
Just what I called all the Dawa guys.
Alhamdulillah. So
we're live.
David, earlier today I saw an amazing video that got published, which was a conversation between a Hamas co-founder's son and some guy who was not the worst interview I've seen. Yeah, it was a pretty good channel. I think it was called Apostate Prophet or something like that. Yeah, good channel.
I've heard of that channel.
Yeah.
I don't know much about it, but I hear that the guy who runs the channel does shows with is super based.
I think we're talking about different guys, but all right. David, what's up, man? How you doing?
What's up, man? What's up? All right, got this link shared. All right.
That's exactly what I always say.
Hey.
What?
Hey, turns out it's a bunch of people who don't like Jews, man.
I rarely drink juice. I think I kind of left it behind when I was younger. I usually drink water or different things nowadays. It's kind of weird.
Because this morning I posted on Twitter. I said ideologies that ruin everything they touch: Islam, communism, socialism, wokeism, Mike Wingerism. Right. So I said that. And then, like, the gropers won't stop, man. Desert Jews, Bolshevik Jews, German Jews, American Jews, gay Jews. It's like it won't stop, man. Everything is Jews. and they don't seem to understand, like, even what I'm saying. Okay, when I say Islam ruins everything, I'm saying, like, every example we go through is like how there was something good and Islam entered the picture and like started ruining it, and now it's ruined.
Yeah.
You just can't say that about you. They take stuff that's ruined and make it better. The heck.
Yeah.
So
just like we talk about,
just gonna say, if you want to be an anti-Semite and attack Jews for something, then attack them for don't attack them for something where you're obviously incorrect. You know what I mean? Like, oh, the Jews, they just take this piece of land and then they make it terrible. What planet are you from? Anyway,
they literally did the opposite. Like they took the land called Palestine, and it was unlivable, and they turned it into a better place. Now it's an amazing place.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. I mean, if you take it, like communism, I listed communism. Take communism, take some country and then just make it communist. It's going to suck unless they start deviating from communism or something like that. It will inevitably ruin whatever it touches. So that's what I'm talking about. And they're like, oh, Jews ruin everything they touch.
Hey, have you seen
the list of Nobel Prize winners? Anyway,
have you seen the news of this guy?
Just be honest. Do you want to say they run the banks? Say they run the banks. But
have you seen this? Have you seen the news of this guy who everyone is talking about this? But this guy had apparently he slept with 100 goats in one day, 24 hours, and was devastated after that. He walked around and was like, it's very, 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 very upset. But now he's apparently planning on doing it with 1,000 goats in one day.
Wait, was he pitching or was he catching?
I'm not entirely sure. I haven't looked at the details. I don't know yet, but this is all I know. So he had sex with 100 goats, and at first he seemed kind of tired and devastated by it, but now apparently he liked it and he wants to do it with 1,000, and everyone is talking about him. I don't know why. It's just like, leave me alone with this topic. I don't want to look at it anymore. You know, it's weird, man. weird stuff.
You know, back in the day in prison. If you got caught in a relationship with a dude, they would send a letter home to your families. They would send a letter home to your family and say, your son has been caught having intimate relations with another inmate, right? Anyway, I had a bunkmate one. This was way back in the day, like 80s and stuff like that. Anyway, I had a bunkmate, and he was older. He was older, but he was talking about when he was younger, and this was still the rule. And he says, "Yeah, back then," he goes, "back then we would send letters home to our families and say, hey, if you ever get a letter about me, the guy, just know I'm on the giving end, not the receiving end." He said, like, the guys would just do that back in the day. Like, they're assuming that they're going to get caught for banging dudes. And so they would preemptively send letters home saying, just so you know, I'm the guy in the relationship if this happens.
That's funny. That's funny. Hey, David, how about you? Maybe close the thing and come back in again. I think you have some connection problems again, like you always do.
I don't. You do.
Like, get out and come back again. See if it's fixed.
We'll see what happens.
Get the hell out of here!
All right, let's have him back. Let's have him back. Alhamdulillah. It's confusing to me. I think there is a kind of a slight delay between us, and when there's a slight delay, I just can't handle it. I feel like I want to murder somebody when that happens, and I don't really want to murder anyone. So anyway, hope he comes back now. 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 Anyway, let's look at a few super chats. Michelle, what's up, Michelle? How are you doing? What's up, Michelle? How are you doing? It's always good to see you here. Haven't seen you in a while. Glad to see you again. Hope you're doing very, very well, and hope you're happy and everything is all right. Hey, AP, amazing interview with Musab. I laughed when you said stay away from Islam at the end, seeing his laugh. Great job. God bless. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. It was, I felt very comfortable. Normally when I'm with other people except David, people that I don't have that big of a connection with, I feel slightly less confident and not entirely sure if I should say the phrase at the end. With him, it was obvious to me that I'm of course I'm going to say it. But it was very, very pleasant to me that he had such a nice reaction to it. So that's very, very good. Apparently he checked my channel and looked at a few things before he came on. So he probably knew what he was in for. Estini, hey, what's up, Estini? I have been renamed Estini since I was caught eating the first letter of my name. That's smart. That's smart. Sheikh Mike Wingelinge, not gonna lie, it was hilarious seeing AP being humiliated by Mossad Shaitan Yusuf, but he's still on the mischief list. Hey, what's up, man? Yeah. What's up, man? Check. All right.
Check.
It was hilarious seeing AP humiliated.
Yeah, there were a few moments where he destroyed me. It was like he was talking, and I said, "Isn't there also?" He's like, "Wait, hold on, let me finish." And I literally,
You sit down. Do not interrupt me.
Be quiet.
I am not finished. Which would be poetic justice, because that's what you did to that poor what was that guy's name you did that to the other day?
I would never do that to anyone.
Oh, Yahya. You did that to Yahya. Remember that?
Yeah.
He's like, "Are you done?" He calmly let you speak for like 15 minutes, and then he goes, "Are you done?" And you just sit there. He goes, "Are you finished?" Okay, well, I'll respond to you. And then you start going, "I didn't say I was finished. I didn't say I was finished. I didn't say I was finished. Why are you talking? Why are you talking? I didn't say I was finished." Very rude.
That was beautiful, man. That was beautiful. That was beautiful.
Poor guy.
I even made
Fortunately, he noticed that I am of superior moral character and that I'm not mean.
Yeah. He pointed out how you are very polite and very nice, while I'm very offensive and disgusting, which was.
It's not every day. It's not every day I hear, "Hey, why can't you be nicer like David Wood?" That is something I very rarely hear.
Well, you are very disgusting. Why are you not acting like David Wood? David Wood, look, David Wood, very polite, very nice guy. Always sits down, listens, never interrupts, never says anything rude, never insults the Quran,
It's weird.
never do this, never do that. Alhamdulillah.
It's weird. Felt good being told how polite I am.
That's what they do. Asa says, bravo with the interview with Musab, and hello, handsome Dawood. Thank
You
you, Asa. Appreciate it.
You got some other David here?
Thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. It was a good interview, wasn't it? It was not too bad. It was not the worst interview I've seen in my life. I am going to clip it and publish separate clips of it as well, of different parts. I think especially his reactions to the videos were very interesting, in my opinion.
Also, that
What?
he seemed happier and more chill than he normally is, because normally when we see him, it's in an aggressive, he's defending something that's being attacked or something like this, or he's being attacked, something along those lines. Whereas I don't know, he seemed friendlier talking to you.
Yeah, he was
Friendlier.
He was
and
I was very
smiling
very personable and cool with him before we started. He arrived when we were about to start the interview. I asked him if he needs to drink something. He said he wants to get some coffee. I said, yeah, let's just go get coffee first. So we
Nice.
walked together and talked, and I don't know, very warm greetings. Shared a few things about my past, his past, and so on. And then we talked about how we know what it means to come from a Muslim culture. Most of these people do not know what it really is. All they can
he's
do
like,
is to
he's like,
hear
you
the
are not
word.
real Muslim culture. You're Turkish.
So it was good to kind of connect that way, and it was I don't know, it was very nice. I felt like I'm talking to somebody that I had known for years. So
And yeah, he just seemed different. Like he seemed naturally, like I didn't know if this dude was so traumatized when he's younger that he's like messed up now and can't laugh or can't smile really, and so on. Like when he's with you, he's grinning and then laughing and stuff like that, and it's natural, looks normal. But whereas like normally in his debate, someone says something and the smile looks like threatening somehow. You know what I mean? Like the smile looks ominous, like,
yeah. It's funny to me. Somebody asked, as it was live, somebody asked how much did it cost to interview him, which is very funny to me because it was the opposite almost. I mean, I didn't have to spend anything. I didn't have to pay him or anything. He did it for free. He arrived, and the first thing he asked me was literally if he can do something to compensate me for the trouble and the costs that I went through to arrange this. And I'm like, what? No.
no, he's just trying to get paid. He's trying to get rich from being interviewed by the apostate prophet.
And he's just a very, 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 very nice human being. Alhamdulillah.
Dude, okay, I was with you up until you said, okay, come on.
Yeah.
He's just the nicest, gentlest soul I've ever met.
Yeah.
If I had to choose between 1.6 billion Arab clowns and a cow, this is the nice guy. This is this super nice, friendly guy you're talking about.
Yeah, why would you want to slaughter and eat a bunch of Muslims instead of slaughtering and eating a cow?
You are not even fit to be a mother, AP.
You're not even fit to go into my stomach!
You are not fit to be a mother. You do not have a womb. You're not fit.
The next Zucker Nax said, point of order. The nerdy old man speaker will not insult Mike Winger. Sit down.
There's some old man speaker trying to insult Mike Winger.
Man speaker.
I say let the old man speak, whoever he may be.
Let the old man speak. Speaking of Jew haters, it has become a very, very fun thing on X nowadays that this is becoming the norm. Here, these people posted Dan Bilzerian with this other guy that I've never heard of before about the Holocaust. And just to keep in mind, Dan Bilzerian is collaborating with Andrew Tate and Candace Owens with their whole anti-Israel rhetoric, while of course acting like, oh no, it's totally not about Jews, man. It's just about Israel and Zionism and so on. I haven't even listened to the whole thing. I just saw bits of it. The numbers don't add up. There were no death cams. Why is there?
What kind of dork has a dinosaur skull that looks like it's about to bite him? Now, it's kind of funny. It makes me want a giant dinosaur skull if I was going to interview somebody, and then I would have it like it's always about to eat my guests. That's kind of funny.
It is kind of
But it's
fun
kind
if
of
there's
it's kind of a distracting background, right? Like I'm not going to be able to stare at anything except the dinosaur head that looks like it's about to chomp on this dude.
yeah. There's a community note here that says there were at least 40 death camps and hundreds of satellite camps that killed millions of Jews. Nazis and their affiliates systematically murdered 6 million Jews across German-occupied Europe, around 2/3 of Europe's Jewish population.
Yeah, guys. We'll say it
Uh-huh.
again. Germans kept pretty darn good records, right? So that's one thing. Germans kept pretty darn good records. Two, these guys at these camps were put on trial after the
These.
war. There were people who testified against them, what they had done during the war at these death camps. The defense of the Germans was not, what are you talking about? There were no death camps. This is all made up. Their defense was, we were following orders. That was their defense. No one's defense is, what are you talking about? You guys are making all this up. Why not? If these morons are right and this is all just made up, why wasn't that the main defense of the Germans? What are you guys talking about? Death camps? What? What death camp? What? I don't see any death camps.
It's very
Freaking
funny. We have people often think that these are just that these are numbers or claims that are behind closed doors and not easily accessible. You can easily find the testimonies of top Nazis, of Rudolf Höss and others online. You can have all of it reviewed. What I find very, very interesting is about this here, about the testimony, the cross-examination of Rudolf Höss, who was in charge of Auschwitz before 42. And then Adolf Eichmann, I think, took over or something like that. Look at this questioning here. Look at this. Look at what he says. So they are asking him, witness, your statement will have far-reaching significance. You are perhaps the only one who can throw some light upon certain hidden aspects and who can tell which people gave the orders for the destruction of European Jewry, and can further state how this order was carried out and to what degree the execution was kept a secret. Dr. Kaufman, will you kindly put questions to the witness? Yes. From 1940 to 1943, you were the commander of the camp at Auschwitz. Is this true? Yes, says
No,
Rudolf.
there was no camp at Auschwitz. Dan Bilzerian says so.
And during that time, hundreds of thousands of human beings were sent to their death there. Is that correct? Yes.
Nine, this is all made up by Jews later on, long after the war, yeah.
Is it true that you yourself have made no exact notes regarding the figures of the number of those victims because you were forbidden to take them? Yes, that is correct. Is it furthermore correct that exclusively one man by the name of Eichmann had notes about this, the man who had the task of organizing and assembling these people? Yes. What's very, very interesting to note here is that at this point they had no, Eichmann was alive, he had fled, he was gone, had eluded them for quite a long time. They later caught him, much, much later. Israel, actually, the Mossad went over there and captured him in Argentina and brought him and tried him in Israel, upon which they then executed him. And by the way, for doing that, for when the Mossad went and captured Adolf Eichmann, this invited condemnations by world nations, including the United Nations, which condemned this act. The United Nations condemned Israel for finding and capturing Adolf Eichmann, a top Nazi, and bringing him to Israel. They condemned it. They were like, "Oh no, why would you do this? You cannot do this. Leave the man in Argentina. You cannot do this." This is why nobody should listen to the United Nations when it comes to these things, especially not Israel.
Hey, wouldn't that have been a cool job? Jew killer hunter. You're
Yes.
hunting down the guys who killed the Jews, and you're the hunter. You're the one who hunts them down.
Remember,
We talked about Christopher Lee that one time, right?
yes.
Christopher Lee. For anyone who doesn't recall, Christopher Lee, after World War II, was a guy who was sent to track down Nazis. Christopher Lee, he played Saruman in Lord of the Rings. And this came out because the director, Peter Jackson, wants him, when he gets stabbed in the back by that dork, he wants Christopher Lee, Saruman, to go, "Ah!" And he kept telling him to do it, and he refused to do it. Finally, he said Christopher Lee pulls the director aside and goes, That's not the sound a man makes when he is stabbed in the back. The sound he makes when he is stabbed in the back is simply because the breath has been torn out of him. Anyway,
Alhamdulillah.
director got a little intimidated by that one. But this guy had apparently plunged some knives into some Nazi backs.
See how David knows everything, every trivia about every actor, everything out there, just like Mike Winger.
No, I learned the stuff so I can make fun of wingers.
So, is it furthermore correct that exclusively one man by the name of Eichmann had notes about this? Yes. Is it furthermore true that Eichmann stated to you that in Auschwitz a total sum of more than 2 million Jews
Wait,
had
one
been
camp?
destroyed?
Just one camp?
Just one camp.
One of the big camps.
Yes.
One of the big camps. 2 million.
The you know what's interesting about this? The irony here is that here is Rudolf Höss saying that Adolf Eichmann himself told him that more than 2 million Jews were exterminated in Auschwitz. This is not even true. They later found out that apparently both Höss and Eichmann, for some reason, severely overestimated or over-exaggerated the number of Jews killed in Auschwitz. It was later brought down to 1.2 or 1.1 million. But even according to the Nazi officials, the greatest Nazi officials here themselves, more than 2 million Jews had been killed in Auschwitz. And they even gave a much higher number, which was corrected by those very people who are accused of making up the Holocaust by these neo-Nazis. Like, are we then supposed to assume that these Nazi officials, Hitler's trusted people, were just spreading lies and in favor of the Jews to brainwash the masses?
Yeah. So, guys, ladies and gentlemen, if you wanted to say,
men, women, and children, yes.
if you wanted to say that the figures were inflated, you can't blame the Jews for that. You have to blame the people who did it.
Yeah.
You have to blame the people who did it. Because people are getting their numbers and then saying, no, guys, actually, you need to dial that back because you didn't kill that many. You guys are claiming you killed this many. You actually killed this many. But it's the Germans who are talking about how many they killed. And then other people actually examining records and so on and saying, actually, it's not that many. It's around 6 million.
For those asking who is Rudolf Höss, Rudolf Höss is an SS officer and the commander of the Auschwitz concentration camp.
Well,
where
died
he
April
was.
16th, 1947. I wonder how he passed away.
Interesting. He was in charge of exterminating Jews at Auschwitz. So anyway, the evidence is just abundant, and those who still go around acting like this didn't happen, it's exaggerated, and so on. The thing is, on the one hand, I think to myself, maybe I should be nicer to these people and try to talk to them and explain things to them. On the other hand, I cannot believe just for a minute that there is actually anything genuine or good or human behind this whole attempt at denying the Holocaust or revising the Holocaust, accusing people of making numbers up and exaggerating it, and so on. I think that these people are simply full of hate, which is why they want to push a narrative. It doesn't matter to them whether it is true or not. And they are bastards, and I have no interest in being nice to those people. I think they shouldn't exist, to be very honest.
Yeah, remember, I'm the nice one. Listen to Yahya. I'm the nice one. You're the mean one.
Yes.
Right? Good cop, bad cop.
In fact, this guy here is one of those. When I look at his face, I don't think very nice things. So don't expect me to be nice to people like this. I don't think very nice things at all. I think the opposite of very nice things.
Yeah, let me be the nice one.
Let me be the nice one. Anyway, let's go to Visegrad. Let's go to Visegrad.
Why did you?
So Visegrad 24. Shout out to my dear friends, our dear friends over at Visegrad. Visegrad 24 published this video, Muslim IDF soldier answers your questions. And the thumbnail says, do you scream Allah? which is kind of funny.
I sleep very.
And some people sent this to me, asked me to look at it. And in fact, Stefan himself, the founder of Visegrad, texted me this link as well. So I thought, okay, I'll have a look at this, and it seemed quite interesting from what I have seen. But what is happening here is that this is an Arab Muslim guy who is a soldier in the IDF, which of course makes no sense, because we have always heard that that Israel has no equal rights, and that they persecute and kill Arabs and Muslims.
Hey, Visegrad has posted a lot of videos. You are currently their 5th most popular video.
Beast.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're 5th. I am 6th, 7th. I am 8th.
The 4th, the 5th.
I am 8th. You had an advantage in that you're an ex-Muslim being interviewed in the Muslim quarter of Jerusalem.
That was kind of a based setting, though.
That was pretty based. Normally when I talk about stuff you do and I say based, I'm doing it like I'm being sarcastic or
That was
something
based.
like that.
We walked to the Muslim quarter of.
That's what I'm saying. That was
Jerusalem.
There. It was based, and it's true.
Alhamdulillah. And here's Dawood.
Yeah, the wood. It's got me pointing at the camera. What's funny, I don't think that happened in the interview. I think they were like, "Could you point at the camera so we can see if you're blah blah blah?" Or I just probably went something like, "This camera, you want me looking right here?" Anyway, it looks cool.
Nice. Let's see.
Why did you betray your religion?
I never betrayed anybody. My religion, my family. Being an Arab in Israel, you have to fill a certain expectation. I don't meet expectations. Hello, my name is Yahya Mohammed. I grew up hating Israel, and after October 7th, I'm in the ranks of the IDF, protecting the only Jewish country.
X is the most...
Wait.
And after October 7th, I'm in the ranks of the IDF.
I like this guy already. What?
There is his account. I didn't even check that. I didn't even see that.
How are we not following? How are we not following this guy right now?
3 more Yahya.
How is everyone not following this guy? Hang on. Yahya.
Yeah, I just followed him.
Yahya Mohammed.
Israeli Zionist Muslim Arab reservist IDF combat soldier. Education is the road to peace. Powerful. I just followed him.
Dude, keep in mind, he may be on the side of Israel, and he may agree with you, but if he's a Muslim, he might still have some slight objections to.
Well, the thing is,
me, he'll think I'm a nice guy, like Yahya, and he'll probably tell you, he'll be like, apostate prophet, we agree, we both like Israel, but you need to be more nice, like David.
yes,
Be more friendly and nice, like David.
And I would understand that, and my what I think of this is, hey, it's good to be an Arab Muslim and to support Israel and to support the Zionists and be part of the IDF and so on. In my opinion, if somebody does that, very, very nice, very good, but you should go one step further and should abandon Islam, because I think that you have a moral responsibility to abandon Islam. I think you have a moral responsibility to turn your back on Islam and to move away, because Islam is.
Can't you be
bad
nice for
for
5
humanity.
seconds, man? For 5 seconds, you got a guy. He makes this huge leap of not only supporting Israel but actually fighting terrorists in the IDF, and all you're like, no, I demand that you leave your religion and call Muhammad a pedophile like me.
Alhamdulillah. No, I think it's a very respectable thing, and I'm happy that he does this. Much respect. I followed him, but I still think that they should leave. I think they have a moral responsibility to leave Islam, and I would recommend you do that. You will be a better person if you leave Islam.
You heard it here. You heard it here, Yahya Mohammed. We've had a lot of interactions with Yahyas in recent days. They all think AP's mean and I'm nice. But you heard it here. If you're going to defend Israel, you have to renounce your religion. And if not, then you should do something else, according to AP.
And I hope more Muslims change their minds and go the way this guy is going. I fully support what he does, and even if he is like, I don't agree with you and all of that, I don't care. I still support what he does, because we need people who turn their backs on this Islamist narrative that he was also brought up in. He says it right here. He just said it. He also grew up hating Israel.
Look at that description, though, man.
I have nothing but respect for this guy.
Look at that description. Israeli, Zionist, Muslim, Arab, IDF combat soldier.
Powerful.
that is an interesting combination there.
You know what happens, right? When if this guy dies in battle,
Mm-hmm.
what happens is that the Muslims do oppose attending his funeral, and also call him a traitor and hope that he goes to hell.
Well, they call him a sharmut.
Yeah, that's what they do when they when a Muslim joins the IDF and dies and fights and dies. To them, this is religiously seen a traitor who does not deserve their respect, who has gone against Islam, against the Ummah, against Muhammad, against Allah, and who needs to go to hell. This is their usual reaction to Muslims joining the IDF. So this is a very, very, very big step. And
I'll say I'm sitting here thinking of how he could, because I don't know what sect he's from or what sources he adheres to or what scholars he would adhere to or how seriously he takes his religion. But I'm struggling to think of a way, according to basic Sunni Islam, that I could think of to where he'd be okay as far as his religion is concerned.
Alhamdulillah, that's what they do.
What
Anyway.
the only way I can come up with is if he's taking the passage like let's say Surah 5 verse 33 about people making mischief in the land, spreading corruption in the earth, and he's actually like, no, that's the Muslims doing that right now. That's Hamas doing that, so I have to fight them even according to the Quran. Something like that, maybe. I don't know.
Inshallah. Let's see.
I think the only Jewish country.
X is the most important social media platform in the world. On the free speech platform, everyone's thoughts and questions matter. That's why we let you ask your questions through Visegrad24. Do you feel a Muslim living in Israel or an Israeli that is Muslim?
I feel that I am an Israeli who happens to be Muslim. I love it when I go abroad to Europe or America and they see my Israeli passport, and when they open it expecting my name to be David or something.
Hey, that's you, man.
Then they expect me to be named David Wood or something, but I'm not. I'm Yahya.
Hamid. And I see the eyebrow just raising, their confusion. And yes, Israel is just a melting pot of different cultures, and I think it's not known enough.
Are you Sunni or Shia?
Israel has only Sunni Muslims, but we have other kind of Muslims living in here. But I am Sunni, and the majority are Sunni.
Ask him if he knows what.
There's your response. He's a Sunni.
Okay, I stand refuted, but now I really don't understand unless he's.
There
Again,
are lots of Muslims in the IDF. And the thing is, there is an unofficial exemption for Arabs and Muslims. They don't have to join the IDF. Israel has compulsory. Everyone has to serve in the IDF, male, female. Everyone has to serve. But since the beginning, since the re-establishment of Israel, Muslims, Arabs have been exempt from this, so they are not called to serve. They're usually not expected to serve. This is just kind of an unofficial agreement that Israel has with Arabs. So when they join the IDF, they are doing that voluntarily. They are doing that because they want to do it. And there are still lots of them serving in the IDF. Yeah, it's different for Druze. Although Druze are also considered ethnically Arab, Druze are not exempt. They are also part of. They also serve.
they serve the best falafel. I'll tell you that.
Alhamdulillah.
No, like, isn't this interesting? So you're pointing out there are a number of Muslims in the IDF. It's voluntary. And that, according to this guy, they're primarily Sunnis over there. That is interesting. I'm just wondering how you make sense of that. I think it has to be because you are allowed to, as a Muslim, you are allowed to kill a fellow Muslim only in a couple situations. One for adultery, one for leaving Islam, so apostasy, and then for murder. So I guess it's just, you just have to believe that the terrorists are not following Islam properly and that they're actually murderers and have to be stopped.
Why are you assuming this guy is ISIS, man? He's just a Muslim. He just happens to believe in Islam. Why are you assuming that this guy is ISIS?
What are you babbling about, man? I didn't say anything about ISIS. I'm thinking, hey, how does it make sense to you to go and fight other Muslims? That's not a problem if you're a Muslim from one group fighting another Muslim group. If you're a Muslim on the side with a bunch of Jews and you're fighting almost exclusively against Muslims.
See, why are you accusing this guy of being ISIS?
You're accusing him.
What the Quran is.
Yes, the Quran is our
Wait.
Sunni and the Bible has only our Sunni.
Ask him if he knows what the Quran is.
Yes, the Quran is our holy book. And before joining the IDF, I was part of a movement called the Islamic movement. And part of the first things that I remember from my childhood was that they wanted to send me to India to convert people to Islam. I was praying 5 times a day. I was part of the community in the masjid. I know very well what the Quran is.
Why are you still
That is
It's cool. They're asking good questions, man. They're asking good questions.
very based.
It is extremely base. I like the way he's answering too. He's like not all like. We have lots of guys who don't like being questioned or something like this. This guy's just smiling and happy, and you're on the right side, buddy. You're on the right side. Not in religion, but
That's funny.
seems like a good guy.
Somebody said officially, not unofficially. So, according to the law in Israel, everyone who is an Israeli Jew or who is Israeli, and Druze and Circassian is drafted, but although it is not explicitly stated, Arab Muslims, Christians, and Bedouins are usually not called to enlist, but they can individually request to be drafted. That's how the law is, apparently. Interesting. The exemption of Israeli Arabs is not based on statutory law. Instead, it is based on the discretionary powers of the IDF to enlist qualified persons in accordance with the provisions of the Defense Service Law. So it is up to them to draft whomever they want, and they usually don't draft Arabs, but they are free to apply and to be part of the IDF. That's funny. You see, it's apartheid.
of Quran 5:51 says, "Do not take unbelievers as your."
Oh, they're going hard, man. They are going hard. And here's the thing, guys. So the term there says, "Do not take the Jews and Christians as awliya," which the most common translation is friends. It is a kind of broader concept. But the response that we'll get is, no, it means allies or something like that. Okay, well, this guy's clearly taking a bunch of Jews and Christians as allies to fight against a Muslim group. So respect to him for sitting through some difficult questions about how he reconciles his military service with his beliefs.
Powerful.
Interesting. Good dude. Hats off to Visegrad for asking these questions. Hats off to the people for sending in tough questions, and hats off to this guy for being a man and sitting down and answering them like a
We don't know
boss.
if he's going. Maybe he will say.
Boss.
This
He's
question.
about to give probably the awesomest answer you've ever seen. I like this guy, man. He's happy. He's not all crying. He's not, I'm a victim.
24 and follow every letter to the exact thing that's written. We have imams who have decided to go forward and put Muslims on the right path to civilization and to outcast people who believe in the literacy of doing everything literally in the Quran. That's a very bad thing to consider. We can't read every holy book and do exactly that. They were written a few thousand of years ago. I think they don't exactly fit today's narrative.
Do you scream?
Wow.
Interesting. Okay, so that's how he does it. That's how he does it. Say, hey, that was a different time. Those rules don't work anymore and shouldn't be imposed on the world. Hey, guess what? I'm okay with you, dude. I'm okay. Of course, I would want you to know the truth about Jesus and so on. But as far as someone I could get along with, you could get along with this guy. You could hang out with this dude. You could be buddies with this guy. You could sit down and
Sit down.
eat a sandwich with this guy and have a fun time, watch a football game with him, not soccer, football, any of that. Cool dude. I like this guy.
أنا مسلم.
The thing is, apparently, from what I have seen so far, looking at Muslims in Israel, this strikes me as something that is not very surprising. It seems that the Muslim community inside Israel is very different from the Muslim community outside Israel, just across the border in the so-called Palestinian territories. The Muslims in Israel seem to quickly adapt and to change their the way they view religious texts, the way they view their religious beliefs, and so on. There are still Islamist movements inside Israel. I mentioned this before. It's kind of messed up, but there are actually openly Islamist politicians inside the Israeli parliament, inside the Knesset, which is something that is unthinkable to people who fall for the Israel apartheid propaganda. But they are literally Islamist representatives inside the Israeli parliament. There are still fundamentalist Muslims, fundamentalist Islamists inside Israel. However, this way of interpreting Islam, as this guy does, seems more and more common in Israel. And I pointed this out before, but in Israel, when Muslims are asked what they think of Jews, most Muslims have a positive view of Jews, which is very, very strange. Because Muslims around the world have a very, very bad opinion of Jews. Muslims in the so-called Palestinian territories are over 95% against Jews, whereas Muslims inside Israel, those who actually live alongside Jews, have a positive view of Jews. It seems that things go a little bit different if you actually live with Jews and don't fight them and don't try to subjugate them.
Also, guys, as weird as this guy sounds to us, just saying, hey, you can't just be applying all these rules of the Quran and applying them in 2024. It doesn't work. People don't realize how common this was for a brief time and how common it would be now if you didn't have the reaction to it. But we've pointed out a number of times, guys, you had the Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman Empire you had their caliphate. So from the first century of Islam down to the 20th century, they had a caliphate. It would be different people in power, but they would always have a caliphate. Then the Ottoman Empire fought in World War I, lost their caliphate after that. So they lost. Then you had across the Muslim world, you had a reaction, which was, okay, our way didn't work. We lost. Our way didn't work. We lost. What's that mean? We need to adapt to the modern world. Our old ways, the ways of the Quran, the ways of the Hadith, they didn't work. Everyone else blew past us economically and in every other way. Technology, they blew our doors off. This way isn't working. We have to adapt to the modern world and start living in the 20th century and not trying to live like we're in the 7th century. That was the response, and Muslims started modernizing and trying to get along and trying to bring their rules in accord with Western nations and so on. But then you had the response to that, and the Shia version was with the mullahs and the Ayatollah and so on. The Sunni version was like the Muslim Brotherhood and eventually ISIS. But the reaction was, the reason we're losing right now is Allah's not blessing us. Allah's not blessing us because we haven't been strict enough in imposing Islamic law. If we strictly impose and enforce Islamic law, then Allah will bless us to take over the world. And then you had the swing back to, no, we need to be very strict and we can't compromise and we need to, everything needs to be about going back to the 7th century. And that's the Islam that we're familiar with. We're still in the part of this backlash against modernization. And so this guy sounds really weird to people. What? He's talking about, hey, we don't need to follow this and we need to live in the modern world. And, yes, I can get along with Jews and Christians and everyone else and fight against terrorists. sounds weird to us because that's not what we're exposed to. But if you hadn't had the reaction of the Muslim Brotherhood and the Iranian Revolution and so on, this would have been normal. This would have been normal Islam.
Powerful, powerful. That's what you say, of course, because that's what you want to say. Anyway, let's continue.
And Allahu Akbar when engaging enemies.
No, I usually say that in the shower.
If you are a Muslim ready to join IDF, Islam prohibits every action these forces commit.
It's very funny because one of the things that all religions share between Christianity, Judaism, and Islam is a verse that I like to remember all the time. Whomever saves one soul, it's like they save the entire world. And whoever kills one
That's your go-to verse?
the entire world. So I viewed it as my number one mission in the IDF is just to save one person. Every soldier and what's in some sense or another is carrying this with him, and it's very beautiful.
Wait. Hey, AP.
What?
Let me get this straight.
What?
The one verse that he goes to for something to know from the Quran is when the Quran is quoting the Talmud.
Yes.
That's what he just said, right? Guys, that's a
Yes.
quotation from the Talmud. It's even if you quote the full verse, it says, Allah revealed to the children of Israel. It's a quotation from the Talmud in the Quran. Wow, that's interesting. You know what's really funny is I suggested 533 as a way of reconciling his faith. He has a different he has just a after he started speaking, you tell he just has more of a modernist view, but he wants to bring Islam into the modern world. But before that, I was suggesting that he could justify going after Hamas by going with Surah 5, verse 33, namely that if people are causing mischief, spreading corruption in the land, then you can kill them. And so, well, guess what? If it's Muslims, then you do it even to them. He went to literally the verse before, which is a command to the children of Israel that if you kill a person without there being certain circumstances, then it's as if you've killed all mankind. He went to that. So we were in the same ballpark, but nope, he's a different guy. He's a different egg.
Look at it. This is from Pew Research from the year 2010. Been quite a while. Here the question is asked how they view Jews from different countries. I only just picked out the Palestinian territories and Israel to compare them. So the opinions of Jews. They ask the people in the West Bank, Judea and Samaria, and in Gaza Strip. 3% in total view Jews favorably, 97% unfavorably. Then they ask the Arabs inside Israel, most of whom are Muslims. 56% view Jews favorably, 35% unfavorably, 8% have no opinion. That's a huge difference here. A huge difference between how those inside Israel and those just on the other side of the border view Jews. It's a huge difference. That's what I'm talking about, man. Powerful.
How do they sleep, referring to Muslims in the IDF? Honestly. How do they sleep?
In some sense or another is carrying this with him, and it's very beautiful.
How do they sleep, referring to Muslims in the IDF? Honestly.
I sleep very well. I sleep very well knowing that during my entire service, there was never a terrorist attack in my area where I served. I have only seen smiles and civilians who went out and enjoyed their day while I'm on duty.
Do you think Israel brutally murdered thousands of innocent children?
I don't think we targeted children. We never do target children. There are collateral damage, and it is sad. It's very sad. It affected me. Seeing blood on the ground affects every human being. But I can sleep very well knowing that we did not target specifically children and civilians. We do everything we can not to do that.
This is a Muslim speaking, a Muslim Arab in the IDF speaking. Around the world, you will hear all kinds of messed up things about what the IDF does. This is an Arab Muslim speaking. He says, of course, there are civilian casualties, people die. That's very, very sad. But the IDF, we do not target
children and civilians. We do everything we can not to do that.
Did your service
You see?
affect your faith, made it stronger, weaker?
Hey, I know this guy. Uri. This guy is not some random guy. He's a big guy. I'm following him. Did your service affect your faith, made it stronger, weaker, altered it? It made my iman stronger.
Altered it?
It made it much, much more complicated to go to a mosque that I don't know out of my community, to pray. It became more challenging after I joined the army. And not only that, I do Israel advocacy and my face is known to other Arabs. So it made things complicated. But recently I have seen more religious figures opening spaces for people like me in their mosques. A lot of Israeli Arabs, young people, saw what I did and decided to follow through. And some did, including a very religious Muslim woman who went and enrolled to be a combat soldier in the IDF. So she was wearing the IDF uniform with a head covering and an M16. Seeing examples like that really give me a lot of energy to continue forward.
I want to see that.
I'd like to see that as well. They're going to need the entire IDF to protect that woman, because there are lots of people who would not like that.
GG is making an important point here, which is for us, for me to sit here and talk about this kind of stuff is relatively easy, especially if we're talking about the whole Israel stuff, compared to this man here who lives in Israel, who has a lot of people that don't like Jews and don't like Israel, terrorist cells just across the border and even inside to an extent, but he is actively putting his face out there, fighting for the IDF and also explaining and defending. That's that.
That's pretty tough, man, because I mean, keep in mind, he's in his video. We know what things are going to be like for him, you know what I mean? Like even if Hamas jihadis don't get him or something like that, he's going to be harassed pretty hard for a long time.
That's
just
true.
Online, wherever he wants to, wherever he shows up online. Because I mean, he's pretty safe in Israel, but there are going to be lots of people who do not like him. In fact, I'll say it, there will be people who hate him more than they hate an apostate like AP or a critic like me. They'll be more enraged at him because he's not rejecting it, but they would view him as a traitor. So the fact that he's actually defending his decisions and so on right here, knowing what the backlash will be against him, pretty cool guy, I'd have to say.
Pretty cool guy. I was looking for my poster of that Quran verse, whoever saves one mankind.
Oh yeah, I've got that. Hang on, I've got one too.
I couldn't find it. Thought I had it over here somewhere. Powerful.
You want me to go find mine?
Yes.
Do you? Okay,
No.
get it.
No.
Oh.
Don't bother.
Yeah, guys, when we went to the Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C., they actually have that passage from the Talmud. If anyone saves a man, it's as if he's saved all mankind. If anyone kills a man, it's as if he's killed all mankind. It's a quotation from the Talmud, ended up in the Quran because Jews were saying it to Muhammad. But if you're ever at the Holocaust Museum in D.C., you can get it as a poster. We both grabbed the posters just because we think it'd be funny to have it in the background of some videos. I wanted to get mine framed.
Alhamdulillah. Me too.
Do you get accommodations to practice your faith?
There's a time to pray, there's a time to fast. They accommodated me on every single thing. I also accommodated them because I went to the IDF to serve the people. And I saw it, my personal opinion was that there's a limit to my needs and the big majority is going to be to what the country needs.
If he falls in combat, does he get 72 virgins in heaven?
No, my girlfriend forbids me.
Yeah, I like this guy, man. This guy's funny, man.
Well played. Well played.
and he's got a girlfriend.
That was good.
How cool is this guy, man?
72 virgins in heaven.
No, my girlfriend forbids me. No 72 virgins for me.
Hey, our friend Issa Kabir. Hey, Issa Kabir, you got some competition now for the role of my favorite Muslim.
Very, very, very nice.
Consider yourself also a Palestinian. What is a Palestinian identity to you?
I don't consider myself as a Palestinian. My grandmother, who was born in Tulkarem in the West Bank, she identified as Palestinian. I always say that my grandmother is Palestinian, but I am not. She was the biggest Zionist I've ever met.
Do you think it is right to serve?
You hear that?
Wow.
She was the biggest Zionist I ever met.
So he doesn't identify as Palestinian. He identifies as just an Israeli.
And his grandmother was a Palestinian and the most diehard Zionist he's ever met.
A Zionist.
It's a family tradition with this guy. It's a family tradition.
It's a family tradition.
Muslim Zionist. Hey, dude, Yahya, if you're ever checking this out, you should write a book called Muslim Zionist. My story as a Muslim in the IDF would do well, would be a very interesting book that would help people understand a lot.
That would be very, very based.
That would be extremely based.
That would be extremely, very bigly based.
Serve in an army that considers you a second-class citizen, or a country that marginalized you by calling itself a Jewish state only?
Well, we never called ourselves a Jewish state. We are a Jewish democratic state. Every day of my last 6 months in the army, I was in charge of raising the flag and saluting it every morning. And we sing Hatikva. It never missed my mind that this is a Jewish country. But at the same time, there are also Israeli Arabs who are living here who have, the sky is the limit, really. The sky is the limit. However much somebody wants to get in and integrate into the bigger Israeli society, you can do it.
Wait, what? Isn't that the opposite of apartheid?
There literally is no legal discrimination, no difference between a Jewish person and a Muslim person, a Jewish person and an Arab person in Israel. Israel has complete and full equality. Complete and full equality. So the claim that there is that they view Arabs as second-class citizens is complete nonsense. It's complete nonsense. It's a made-up claim. It's a made-up idea. Made-up idea. Complete nonsense. That's true. Hatikva, for those who don't know, is the anthem of Israel. It's called Hope.
Hope starts with an H-A-P, and you have the audio off.
Oh, really? That's funny. Okay.
My last 6 months in the army, I was in charge of raising the flag and saluting it every morning. And we sing Hatikva. It never missed my mind that this is a Jewish country. But at the same time, there are also Israeli Arabs who are living here who have, the sky is the limit, really. The sky is the limit. However much somebody wants to get in and integrate into the bigger Israeli society, you can do it.
Do you support the demolition of Al-Aqsa Mosque and building the third temple on top of it?
The first nation that...
Wait. What was that?
Of Al-Aqsa Mosque and building the third temple on top of it.
What is he saying there? I wonder.
The first nation that allowed the Jews to pray freely on the Temple Mount were the Muslims. And I believe in my mind that we will live to see a day where Muslims and Jews pray on the Temple Mount right next to one another. My faith, my moral compass tells me that my prayer will not be heard if I demolish another person's temple to build mine. Now, the status quo on the Temple Mount, there's a lot of things to say about it, but I think demolition and stuff like that is out of the question.
What?
Weak sauce.
Yeah, just so everyone knows, as far as him talking about praying together on the Temple Mount, Jews are not allowed to pray on the Temple Mount. you as a Jew, you can walk up there. You can walk up on the Temple Mount at certain times and so on, but you are not allowed to pray.
Yeah, Jews are not allowed to pray on the Temple Mount, despite the fact that that Israel is technically controlling the entire area. They still respect and give Jordan the right to be what's it called? To what's that stupid word called, man? They are in control of religious sites. They oversee religious sites, and under the agreement that these two states have, only Muslims are allowed to go and to go and pray there. Christians, custodian. Okay, there it is. Custodians of holy sites. So Jordan is still the custodian of those holy sites. Jews and Christians may go up to the Temple Mount, but they are not allowed to pray there. If a Jew or a Christian is seen praying around on the Temple Mount, they will be told to cease, to stop immediately, and will possibly be removed. So only Muslims are allowed to go up there and to engage in worship and to pray up there. It has been that way forever. In fact, under Muslim rule, it was forever not allowed for Jews to go on the Temple Mount and to pray there. It was also not allowed for Christians to go up there. In Muslim history, in the history of the Muslim caliphates and rulers over Jerusalem, it was only allowed for Muslims to go up there. It was not allowed for others to go up there. And despite the fact that Israel has overcome and defeated them, Israel still respects the status quo and still tells its own Jewish citizens not to pray there. So Israel is still keeping that side of the agreement.
Yeah, and guys, when you see Jews at the Western Wall, the Wailing Wall, that's because that is the closest spot there they can get to the Temple Mount to pray. So that's why they gather at that wall. That's as close as they can get to the Temple Mount. So they go there.
Powerful. In my opinion, I think Islam should be done there. Islam has no claim, no right to it. I know that this is a controversial topic even inside Israel.
Yeah, this guy's sitting here being all super nice and talking about everyone singing together and being happy together, and no, we must destroy it. And this is why people call you mean and wish that you were nicer like me.
I think the good thing would be to eventually resolve this conflict in the long term would be to remove the Islamic mosque buildings on the Temple Mount, and to get rid of them.
Put them somewhere else. I'm trying to be as nice and sensitive as possible because Israel does have a large Muslim population. So I would say eventually come to some agreement. Guys, we're going to disassemble this very, very carefully. And we're going to give you this other mountain over here. We're even going to clear it off for you. We're going to move it piece by piece right over here for you. Right over here for you, and then you have your stuff over there.
Or there's always the other option of just blowing it up. A controlled demolition.
The AP solution.
Controlled demolition of both the Al-Aqsa and the other abomination, and to destroy it by blowing it up in a controlled manner. And blowing up is not a disrespectful thing. It's just what you do when you demolish buildings. If you are in charge of a city of land and you want to get rid of a certain building to build something else instead, it's totally understandable that you demolish it with certain explosives. That doesn't mean that you disrespect it. It just means that you now want to get rid of it in order to build something better. And getting rid of the mosque buildings to then build a temple or something would be the definition of putting something better up there. So, insofar, I would say that I think that demolishing it in the traditional way should be an option. But yeah, so while Israel has control over the place, they could always offer the Muslims the different options and say, "Hey guys, we will remove these, and we will put something else there. So it is up to you to decide how we are doing this."
That's cool too. That's cool too. See, I'm in favor of being as nice as possible. Again, AP, you're not thinking like, oh, we actually want to be on good terms with our large Muslim population. Like, I don't care if they all hate me. That's you, right? They have different things to go. So I'd be in favor of something like you just said, guys. We're going to move this. You figure out how it's done. You figure out what the plan is. We will do whatever you want as long as it involves you getting off this Temple Mount. So that's one thing. I'm also a fan of repercussions. You know what I mean? Repercussions. I'm a big fan of using repercussions. And so I would be along the lines of, hey guys, for every time there's a terrorist attack against Israel, we're going to remove one section of one of these buildings you have on the Temple Mount.
That's pretty mean.
And you're not going to replace it. You're not going to replace it. So terrorize us if you want. Matter of fact, every single rocket that comes to us from Hamas or Hezbollah, whoever comes, every single rocket, we're taking another room of your mosque. We're dismantling it.
That's pretty mean.
So we've told you ahead of time. We've told you ahead of time. Don't blame us. We've laid down the rules. So if a rocket flies at us, do not blame us when we're just keeping our word. We're honest. We're keeping our word. So that'd be on you. Don't blame us. Blame the people who fired the rocket. They knew the rules. That's how I'd roll.
Hold up, I just figured out how to build a temple here. So wait.
You should get to decide because I saw you literally defend the entire Temple Mount when you played that game. There were so many invaders, and you took them all on and won the entire game. I remember.
There's a site, Third Temple. It's the Third Temple project.
Guys, look. By the way, everyone, look at that. People have no idea how big this place is until they get up there. You get up there, and it's something like 25 football fields. Like that, just the area with the Dome of the Rock on it, that is huge. That is a huge, giant area. And you've got all of that is Temple Mount.
The thing is, when you say football, you're talking about college football, which is what college kids play in America.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It would be
around the world.
It would be a bunch of soccer fields as well. It's huge. You could have a huge soccer field up there on the corner of this thing, and no one would even notice.
Oh, there's actually a way to make a comparison here. Just look at these blocks here. These are individual homes. Houses, and compare one of those homes to the size of this entire thing.
Well, people can watch my video when I was
gigantic.
People can watch my video when I was by the Dome of the Rock. I'm up there, and it's a huge area. Like I'm far away from the Dome of the Rock, even though I'm up on that raised platform. Dome of the Rock is way in the background. That's how big that place is. And then you see the entire Temple Mount is much bigger than that raised platform where the dome is at. So you got the dome there, and then off to the right, that's the Al-Aqsa Mosque over there. The big building on the right.
So ridiculous. Anyway, if we want, we can build the third temple today. Okay, I want to build a temple. Let's see. I want to build a temple right now, man. Oh, I have to enter my... Okay. Yeah, okay, I'll build the temple later. I'll check this out. I'll build the temple later. I'll get back to you guys. All right.
What has Israel done for you?
Israel has given me a home. Israel has kept my family safe. Israel gave me a safe space where I can study, where I have a very stable life, which is a luxury, apparently, in the Middle East.
Mm-hmm.
Israel.
Yes.
Yes. If you didn't like them for anything else, you've got more stability than you do in a lot of other places.
Alhamdulillah.
Opportunities in the Middle East. Israel gave me sense of security and opportunities that I will not find anywhere else in the Middle East.
What do you think about all the pro-Palestinian?
Very, 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 very based. This is absolutely true. People use this as an argument sometimes to point out how good Israel is, and this is not a stereotype, not an empty argument. It is actually true. Israel is the best, safest place for Arabs themselves in the Middle East. They have more rights there than they have in Muslim countries.
And we've seen that. I mean, in other words, there would be Muslims who would be significantly better off living in Israel than they would in other places, but especially non-Muslim groups or weird groups or heretical groups and stuff like that. Like we've seen recently, the Druze. We've seen Druze basically begging to be annexed by Israel from Syria. So they're villages in Syria that are Druze, and you have Druze there going, "Please, Israel, take us over, take over southern Syria, so we can be part of your country and not part of what's coming."
Hey, I just asked ChatGPT, in football, soccer fields, how big is the Temple Mount? The Temple Mount is approximately 150,000 square meters, 37 acres in area. In terms of football, soccer fields, it is 21 football fields.
21 football fields in size.
That's
is
messed up.
big, man. Big.
That's messed up.
That is big.
It's huge.
Palestinians calling Israel.
In the Middle East.
What do you think about all the pro-Palestinians calling Israel an apartheid state?
To say misinformed, to say the least. But the Palestinian was never about the Palestinians. It was never about the Palestinians. It was never about Palestine. It was about just attacking Jews. And now the Jewish nation has a country, and now they want to attack the Jewish country using Palestinians and Palestine as a tool. If this is taken out of the equation, another thing would be brought into the equation to fill this void.
What do Muslim ideas?
Exactly, man. Exactly. I love this guy.
This guy he's smart, man. He's not just cool. He's also smart. Exactly. Right on the money, man. Dude.
Every single word 100% accurate.
We should each take a clip from this guy and make some sort of video out of it. I mean, matter of fact, just what he said right there is perfect to clip and toss on Twitter or something like that.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, why am I talking about it when I can be doing it right now? I'm downloading
Every
this.
single word that he said is completely and entirely accurate. None of this is about Palestinians. It's about attacking and hating Jews. And if this was resolved, they would jump to something else to continue doing that. In fact, let me repeat this part. Let me repeat this part because it was so beautiful. Beautiful.
What do you think about all the pro-Palestinians calling Israel an apartheid state?
To say misinformed, to say the least. But the Palestinian was never about the Palestinians. It was never about the Palestinians. It was never about Palestine. It was about just attacking Jews. And now the Jewish nation has a country, and now they want to attack the Jewish country using Palestinians and Palestine as a tool. If this was taken out of the equation, another thing would be brought into the equation to fill this void.
What do Muslim
Another yeah, very perfect, guys. So in other words, suppose hypothetically that the Palestinians just stopped complaining and they built up their country and they loved it and they said, "We're totally fine. We like it like this." What would happen? People would come up with something else. Some other reason that we have to attack Jews.
Libya said, AP, get in touch, try to find out who his female colleague is and interview her. That would be an awesome interview, I think. It sounds like a good idea when you say it, but
yeah, guys,
it sounds difficult to do that.
Yeah, and also, and we have me and AP, we understand completely what we do. If you wanted to see her interviewed, would probably be more realistic for her to be on some other channel. You know what I mean?
I could always try. Yeah. But I would rather recommend her for somebody else's channel to highlight her.
And what we mean there is, I'm not talking about us. We would love to interview this guy. We'd love to interview this woman. It's not good for them. They're already on pretty thin ice by fighting for the IDF. If now you're buddies with the apostate prophet or David, it's not going to.
Plus,
that's not going to go well for you. That gives your enemies more ammunition to say that you're fake.
it could serve to undermine their cause and what they stand for, especially if they want to take a stance and so on. If it's for me, I'm completely for this. I just don't think from their perspective it would be preferable. But I can always
So
always
smart.
try.
Yeah, smart going with this guy talking to like Visegrad and so on. That's good. That's a good fit.
Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah. What was I going to say? Let me see. What was this thing?
Equation, country using Palestinians and Palestine as a tool. If this was taken out of the equation, another thing would be brought into the equation to fill this void.
Okay, there's something I want to point out here, which is so there is currently a war going on, and there is a conflict that has been ongoing for forever now, forever. Since not just since 1948, it started before that. It started in the 1920s, where it started getting violent. It started before that. It was ongoing already in the 1800s. In the 1800s, there were attacks against Jews and so on. This is not about Palestinians and their right to exist, about their right to have land, their right to live within these borders, and so on. It's not about any of those things. It's not about their right to live a peaceful life. If those so-called Palestinians chose to coexist with the Jews, if they chose to coexist with the Jews and live a peaceful life, there would be no conflict right now. There would be no war. There would be nothing. The only reason that there is a war going on right now, and the only reason that the conflict is still going on, and that the conflict has reached bloody, violent phases, is that the other side that identifies as Palestinian and that is constantly pushed by mischievous, ill-intentioned people around the world, that they insist that the Jews, the Israelis, should not have their land, should not be in charge, and so on. They could sit down today and make peace. They could sit down today and come to a permanent agreement on borders, and the whole thing would be solved. There is not a single time that Israel, the Jewish side, has ever attacked the other side. Not one single instance. Not a single time. Every war, every battle, every war that happened over these decades, over the century, was initiated by the other side, and every single time Israel came out victorious. Israel has never been the one that was trying to fight or suppress the other side. The other side could always make peace. They don't want to, because they are constantly pushed and motivated by sick people around the world to fight against the Jews, to fight against Israel, to fight against the Zionists. It's not about borders. It's not about rights. It's about Jews. It's about Israelis. It's about them having their land, being independent, and so on. That's that. Not sure why there's a bot here typing random dumb stuff. They killed thousands of people and committed crime of war. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Talking about Hamas? Yeah, they're being eradicated. So
Yes.
No problem.
What do Muslim IDF soldiers say to other Muslims who accuse them of being traitors?
The IDF stands at the borders of Israel, protecting everybody inside the country. The IDF stopped weapons from being smuggled into Israel, and we know that Israeli Arab communities are suffering from violent crimes right now, and those weapons that are being stopped by the IDF and drugs making their way into our Arab community. Israeli Arabs should serve in the IDF because the benefit of it to our community is just absolutely massive.
Will IDF soldiers be deployed in Gaza who have relatives in the Gaza Strip?
The IDF actually avoids that. They asked me, I have family in the West Bank, and they asked me when I drafted, where does my family live exactly? So they make sure that I don't operate in the same thing. The Israeli police follows the same statute. It's a very known thing.
Should an Israeli be able to build a house in the
Smart.
West Bank?
This question implies that those people are doing something wrong. And it puts me as an Israeli Arab in an awkward situation. Because if they're doing something wrong by living in the West Bank, just simply existing in the West Bank, then what do we say about the 2 million Arabs who are living in Israel? Are they also doing something that they're not supposed to do? It's a very short-sighted question.
By
Do
the
you
way,
think there
that
should be a
isn't it such a weird situation? It's so you got the people in Gaza and the West Bank saying,
Give us Israel. We're going to take it. We're going to take it from you.
and it's like, okay, well, so you believe it's totally okay to come take our houses, and you believe it's totally okay to go in this direction. Can we just go take something of yours? What if you're not even living there? What if no one's living in an area? Can we go there? No, you can't. The rules are always interesting, man.
The rules are stupid. I'm trying to look for more information on. Oh, wait a minute! Hijab wearing army soldier. Interesting. Female Muslim IDF soldier braves threats to serve in infantry battalion. CPLN prays 5 times a day and wears a hijab. I don't know if this is part of the story. This is 2019. There are many such cases. Wears a hijab when she's on leave from the Lions of the Jordan Valley Infantry Battalion. She has been threatened by villagers and by Arab soldiers, but she still dreams of a military career and stronger for Arabs and Jews in Israel. It's pretty based. Pretty based. There are stories of other. There's one known one. I've heard of her before. A known Muslim woman, but she's not a hijabi. She's just in charge of Arab communications. Ella Waweya, the IDF's top Muslim woman speaking out to the Arab world. Captain Ella is her name. That's what she's known as. Based. Traitors, the traitors, how dare you? Ridiculous. Let's see. Next, 10,000 goats, inshallah. That's what Erdogan should do. K. Kavus says, AP Mossab has an exotic and iconic way of speaking, but sometimes it can be funny. During your interview, were there moments where you had to suppress your laughter, trying to keep serious? What I noticed is, speaking to him lengthily, it's very interesting. He has a very poetic way of speaking. It's like everything he says sounds poetic. Everything he says sounds very romantic. He has a very poetic speech style.
I was mesmerized by his, effervescent charm.
There wasn't any spot where I felt like where I was surprised and had to laugh hard. There was only one instance where he said something like toward the very end, where he said, "And those who don't want to live in the city and they want chaos and so on. For them, I would say, go to the desert and commit suicide there." Such things sound very make me laugh because they are shocking and kind of dark. He was being dead serious. I laughed in response to that. Yeah, but other than that, very, 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 very cool. There was one part where I started feeling a little bit like, oh, okay, I see. The guy can kill you with his eyes and with his speech when he gets serious. He started at some point in the middle or so talking about how he has experienced things and he has seen things, and those who have not seen things, those who have not even lived and have not died and come back and so on. When he was going there, I started getting goosebumps a little bit. I don't know.
Just to be clear, everyone, we imitate Mossab. We think the way Mossab speaks is really cool, and he's funny. He's funny when he he's funny when he says these extreme things that he basically, as I pointed out, he says some things that will set people off because he wants you to challenge him so that he can then clarify and explain his reasoning, and then you can't even attack him for what he said. So remarks like that, like, you aren't even fit to be a mother, or I choose the cow. He has explanations for why he says all these things. He wants to say something that makes people go, oh, and then they go, how could you say something like that? And then this allows him to elaborate. So things like that crack us up. And then his sick burns when he pulls rank on people, like when that chick's like, I have been to Palestine, I have been there, and he goes, maybe you went there and you have a falafel sandwich and you were blown away by the Palestinian experience. I mean, like, you could not blast someone more perfectly. If you gave us a week to say something that brutal in that like that condescending, you have this, you think you know what you're talking about, because what's crazy is, so she had been there, she had been to Gaza, but he's pointing out, okay, maybe you went there and you had a sandwich, right? Because guess what, in her mind, yeah, that's what happened. I went there so that I can say I went there, and I went there and I had a sandwich, and then I went back and now I say, oh, I know Palestine now. And so he just like completely crushed her soul right there. But we love that. We love that stuff. So we love the way he speaks. He's awesome.
He killed her. Alhamdulillah.
We're blown away by the Palestinian experience.
That was very funny. That was very
funny, man. And then he's talking to Cenk. I believe you would eat your own children.
Man. Powerful.
Palestinian state.
I think that's a decided question.
Do you think there should be a Palestinian state?
I think that the future that I have in Israel and the future that my neighbors have in the West Bank are very much tied together. Whatever future happens there and whatever they achieve, it affects me, and whatever I achieve, they affect them. A statehood or not, it doesn't matter. The first step that we need to do is stop the violence.
What would you advise Hamas?
And I would say, if anyone wants a state, stopping the violence, that is the only path towards getting one. The only way you're getting a state is to say, you know what, we're going to live in peace now, and to show through your actions for an extended period of time that you actually want to live in peace and have a state. Then people would start taking it seriously. Right now, when you say we want a state, all we hear is we want a terror base. We want a bigger, safer terrorist base for us.
I have to listen to this.
It's classic.
He killed 5. I knew Marwan before he got to power. He is a criminal. He killed 5 people. He has blood on his hands. He cheated on his wife. He has a secret son that he never revealed it to the public. Of course, I can criticize him, and I can criticize all the criminals that I know personally. She's been there only for a visit, and maybe she had some falafel sandwich, and she really was blown away of the Palestinian experience. There is no such a thing as Palestine. It's about time to retire, find a different job. You're not a journalist. Even to be a mother.
Dude, we can watch that 100 times in a row. That was all back to back. You're not a journalist. Find another job. You're not even fit to be a mother. This is him in a debate. Oh my goodness! You got to play that again, man.
Oh man, this is
You
just
got to play that again.
This is just brutal, man. He's.
I mean, dude, you've never. That's what I mean. I mean. If I put my mind to it, I feel like I have a way with words, and I can like put something in just brutal terminology and crush someone in a short amount of time. Nothing I've said can ever come close to that, man. There's nothing. This guy's on a different level. He's on a completely different level when you want to talk about sick burns. I mean, this chick's trying to look like she's not crushed inside, but she is crushed. Everything, motherhood, her career, job, everything just ripped apart.
Blood on his hands. Our that she's talking about him, she never met him. I knew Marwan before he got to power. He is a criminal. He killed 5 people. He has blood on his hands. He cheated on his wife. He has a secret son that he never revealed it to the public. Of course, I can criticize him, and I can criticize all the criminals that I know personally. She's been there only for a visit, and maybe she had some falafel sandwich, and she really was blown away of the Palestinian experience. There is no such a thing as Palestine. It's about time to retire, find a different job. You're not a journalist. You don't qualify even to be a mother.
Abby.
Reaction.
Oh my goodness! I bet I could watch that 20 times and it would still be hilarious, man.
I find the
Gosh,
thing he does with this.
savage, man.
I find the thing he does with his hands very funny though. When he says the falafel sandwich.
Met him, and people and that he never revealed it to the public. Of course, I can criticize him, and I can criticize all the criminals that I know personally. She's been there only for a visit, and maybe she had some falafel sandwich, and she really was blown away of the Palestinian experience. There is no such a thing as Palestine. It's about time to retire, find a different job. You're not a journalist. You don't qualify even to be a mother.
Wow. Abby.
That's the other part, guys. You got to get us. And look at his face right now. You got to get the hand. You got to get the dismissive hand gesture down too. Notice he doesn't.
It's brutal, man. It's brutal.
Absolutely savage, man. This is what happens, guys, when you raise a guy to be a terrorist and to think like a terrorist and to be a total killing machine, and then he switches sides. And you put him into a debate with some blonde-haired. Oh, I'm in Palestine. I know all about it. I tweet about it all the time.
Alhamdulillah. Yeah.
I already stopped the violence.
What would you advise Hamas leaders as a Muslim?
I already advised the late Yahya Sinwar to release the hostages on Israeli national TV.
Smart.
That was the only way we could end the war. Unfortunately, my voice went into the pool of many other voices in Arabic and Hebrew and English and any other language, but Hamas is deaf. I wait as an Israeli soldier. I wait for the proud Palestinian leader that loves their people more than they hate Israel to come. I still have yet to see another leader like that.
Powerful stuff.
That's what they need.
Powerful stuff. That's what they do. Unfortunately, Yahya Sinwar is dead. We are all very, very sad about this. We're all very, very upset with this. Very sad about this.
That dude pointed out something important. It's like, it didn't have to be that way. I mean, Yahya Sinwar was going to pay, but he did not have to be dead right now.
Yeah. Here's a song for Yahya Sinwar.
Ding dong, Yahya is.
Oh Yahya, my darling, my lion, my flame, the love for the fight put the Arabs to shame. A man of devotion, fierce and fine.
I'm just kidding, man. The real song is over here. Real. Go check it out. It's called Yahya Sinwar is Dead. It's a very good song.
Yeah. The chorus goes, "You reap what you sow, you reap what you sow."
Alhamdulillah. For more from Visegrad, go over and check out Visegrad 24. I linked to the original video in the description. Visegrad is doing a fantastic job. They have emerged as a great source and actor. Very, very important.
And they interview some very, very powerful individuals.
Exactly. Look at this.
Look at anyone on that list. Look at anyone on there.
They interviewed fantastic people here, such as look, this guy, Jonathan Conricus. Very, very, very impressed.
Yeah. So that's Jonathan Conricus, one of the best speakers on the planet on these issues. Imagine someone actually getting more views than Jonathan Conricus. That would be pretty spectacular.
Pretty spectacular, yeah. But I don't know.
like that video, that interview got 106,000. Imagine someone getting more, like 110 or something like that.
Yeah, I wonder what this year is. Migrant plan, something like that. Look, this guy got more, for example. Interesting.
Powerful.
Yeah, and then there is
Yosef Haddad. Now that guy, That guy also phenomenal speaker, powerful, very powerful. Imagine, he got 46,000 views. Imagine someone getting more like 70,000. That would have to be
Yeah.
super base,
Yeah.
super base.
So they seem to do a great job, great interviews, and so on. Would check out definitely the people they interviewed and also their other videos. Very, very nice. Very, very, very nice. Alhamdulillah. Powerful, powerful stuff. David, so what are your thoughts on this Arab IDF soldier, Muslim IDF soldier? Do you still think that you don't trust him because he's a Muslim and he should leave Islam, or what do you think?
No, I trust this guy. The problem is because you'd think, oh gosh, wouldn't it be great if there were way more like that? And there are more, right? He's not the only one. You pointed out that there are many Muslims. The problem is there's always going to be some Muslim who ruins that. You know what I mean? Like someone who pretends to want to join the IDF and then goes in and then does a massacre or something like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's the problem. You have Muslims who genuinely want to get along with other people, genuinely want to get along with Jews and Christians and so on. And then you have people who use that and pretend in order to ruin it all. That's what sucks.
That is pretty based. Pretty based. I think next I want to have a look at sometime at this video. Finally, after thousands of people have told me I should probably listen to Natasha Hausdorff and her speech here. Sounds pretty good.
Be removed. He called on the Arabs to join the Jews in building the state of Israel.
Oh, she was the one defending Mossab.
Yeah.
When he was being challenged.
She also has a good accent, so therefore.
Yeah, she does have a cool accent.
Yeah.
Gotta check on my son real quick.
Okay.
Be right back.
Okay. Brought in with an unrelated question, but when do you plan on going to Israel again with David? God bless, peace be with you. With David, very, very difficult. The last time that we went to Israel together, it was disastrous. I will say it very, very openly. When I was there with David, I think we pissed each other off so much by not getting things done the way he wants it, not getting it done the way I want it. I did a lot to accommodate and to arrange things so that he can get his stuff done, but we were both kind of getting in each other's way. And it was, we did need some time off to then get together again and start making live streams together. It was very we are both very stubborn people when it comes to doing our own thing, and that was really getting in the way of things. So I'm not sure. On the way back on the plane, we said to each other, we should never go to Israel together again. Next time, let's do this independently. I think I will still stick to that. I'm not sure what I'm not sure if that's how it's going to go, but I am planning on arranging a trip to Israel by myself, possibly joined by some other influencers, ex-Muslims, something like that. Have been in talks with people from Israel and organizations from Israel to do that. It's very extremely likely that I will go to Israel this year, within the next few months or so. And I think David also has a plan to independently go there. Who was craziest, David or Ridvan? Depends on how you define crazy. There was a funny thing as well about it, which is that David is completely irresponsive and totally cool in the face of anything terrible that is happening because he's a psychopath. And I'm not like that. I'm very... I do have very strong reactions emotionally to things. And that doesn't always go well. Like we just went to a memorial for the victims of October 7. And on the way back, he's still making jokes and talking about other things that we should be doing. And I am completely dark in my head, drowning in my head and thinking, please, Nobody talk to me. Leave me alone right now, and so on. That is a very, very bad combination of moods. Yeah. Ein Berliner mit Berliner says, David Wood, you hypocrite, saying AP needs a new computer, but you got often bad internet connection. By the way, I didn't see the interview yet. Please, no spoilers. No spoilers. No spoilers. Inshallah. Droog Skaugu says, Mossab's vocal fry in that interview was worse than Kim K, while the Prophet's sounded elegant and soothing. Yeah. Alhamdulillah. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. Sarah F., I'm on my knees. We need to sit down on soundboard. Sit down. Sit down. I should add that. I'll make a note and we'll add sit down to the soundboard. Sit down soundboard. We'll do that, inshallah. The new Bronze Age collab said, damn, I caught an AP and Dizzle live stream. It is really 2 a.m. Huh. See? You see? You see? Medical doctor, I'm very emotionally moody too. I know. That's the funny thing. I did mess up one thing, which was I didn't go on the Temple Mount because I was so struck by. So what we did is we had this plan of arranging a place to stay in Jerusalem one final time before the day we leave, to go there and to go to the Temple Mount, to film a bunch of things, for David to make a video, for me to do independent videos and things like that on the Temple Mount. But before that day, we just arranged it in a very, very, very bad way. I didn't really estimate how everything would unfold. But before that day, before the day that we would in the morning go and spend the day working on the Temple Mount, before that day, we went to the Gaza envelope and went to the site of the Nova Music Festival and saw different things, and it completely killed me, and I felt absolutely horrible. I felt this whole leave me alone, everybody mood, and couldn't sleep all night. David, of course, psychopath, totally unaffected, has no idea why I'm acting like that.
Yeah, I thought you were just being lazy, and I was like the most annoying thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, you came all the way out here, and you're just going to be lazy.
And I did feel really bad about it because I really wanted to do the whole that day the Temple Mount thing, but I didn't really foresee how that would go. So I didn't sleep all night. I tried very, very badly. Was up till morning. And in the morning, I literally couldn't move. And I told him to just go without me and do whatever. And he thinks I just don't want to go. Doesn't know that I'm dying.
Yeah, the impression I got was I don't feel like it. I don't feel like it. I'd rather just chill. I'd rather just chill here in bed than, I'm right. The Temple Mount's right there. I have all the opportunities to make these awesome videos, but I don't feel like it.
Yeah. It was pretty messed up.
Rebecca saved the day there because I needed.
I'm glad we had her with us because
Yeah.
I sent her with you, and yeah.
I made 2 videos because we went there and then we went to where we had the Temple Mount, the whole Temple Mount in the background. So we went up the Mount of Olives and stuff like that. But those videos got, I think 400,000 on one and something like that on the other. But anyway, yeah, if I'd have been stuck with you, I'd have been screwed, man.
Yeah.
That would not have been good.
Wouldn't been good.
Let me see how those videos did.
See, it was smart of me to have Rebecca with us. You see, what kind of a genius could come up with this idea to have somebody else with us and help?
Let's see. Oh yeah, I got 430,000 views on one and 430,000 and 430,000. That's weird.
Damn.
Each one. Same
See,
number.
that turned out very, very well. Did you expect that you would get that many views on those?
I knew those were good videos, man. I knew those were good videos. The problem is, if you hadn't been a freaking zombie, I would have made like 10 videos like that.
Powerful. So shout out to Rebecca. She made it possible. She helped David record those videos. And
I actually got I'm actually recording because like when I'm checking the camera angle and stuff like this, I'm like, okay, go stand there so I can see how the background looks. And she stands there and she's pointing at the Dome of the Rock. She's going, okay, so this is going to be our apartment. She's talking about how they're going to remodel the place.
Man,
I still got that video clip. I should,
she is hilarious. She is very good. She also did this messed up thing. Like I'm completely dying. I'm absolutely horrible. My face is like, just stay away from me and stuff. And she comes up to me and is like, how you doing? I'm like, whatever, not very good. And she's like, you want to go to the Holocaust Museum to spice it up? What the hell? What kind of a messed up joke is that? What kind of a messed up thing to say? And like, I love dark humor always, but she's worse than me. Much worse than me.
Here you go, AP.
Oh, that's it. That's it. Alhamdulillah.
Got to get this framed. Look, it's a quote from the Quran. I wonder why they say Talmud under it. Whoever destroys a single life destroys the entire world. Whoever saves a single life saves the world entire.
Based. The funny thing with this is, with this poster, we are done with the Holocaust Museum tour. We are shopping for stuff. I'm looking around. David comes up to me and says, "Hey, they have a Quran verse up there." Like, what? What? Are you serious? Like, yeah, they have it right up there. It's like, what the hell? Show me, where is it? And then so we go up there and he shows me this, and then I'm like, oh, okay, funny, you got me.
Isn't it funny that the most peaceful verse in the entire Quran is a quote from the Talmud? It just cracked me up.
But for a moment there, I really thought they put a Quran verse up there somewhere, and I was going to tell them my opinion.
I can tell you can't do that.
How dare you?
I'll humiliate you on my YouTube channel.
You'll be finished, boy. SOS number 5. Even Winger wouldn't use ice cubes while sick. This is not Wingerism. So, the seal of the prophets. That tux though move over Idris Elba. Musab should be the new James Bond. Alhamdulillah. Yeah. Alhamdulillah. Nobody beats Idris Elba. One of the funniest clips that I've seen in my entire life is from Idris Elba, where he eats a hot wing. And he has a hilarious reaction to it. The new Bronze Age collapse, Dan Fuentarian.
That's funny.
Star studies shows Hamas counter lies. Yeah, there is a report going around. I haven't really checked it out yet, which is why I don't want to. I haven't really talked about it or said anything. But the title already seems quite interesting. I started reading it earlier today to look into it. It's on the Telegraph. It says number of civilians killed in Gaza inflated to vilify Israel. Researchers accuse Gaza Ministry of Health of overstating casualty data. This is going massively going around today. I haven't really read it yet. I have only began to read it earlier today. Need to look at it to further find out what it is. It also points out how much of the media omits that that half of the people that died were Hamas fighters and so on.
Did you say half the people who died are Hamas?
Yeah.
If so, then that would be that 1-to-1 casualty rate, civilian to combatant casualty ratio, which would be insanely, like, mind-bogglingly good for urban warfare, especially when your opponents literally try to maximize civilian casualties. That would be shockingly good.
Alhamdulillah.
Like I've said before, I would be impressed with a 2-to-1 civilian to combatant ratio. I would be impressed with 2-to-1. Remember when Hijab was saying it's 100-to-1? We need to revisit that. We need to revisit Hijab's old clips where he's saying, because he didn't apologize for that or anything, right? Saying it's 100-1.
Yeah, I even pointed it out to him, and I said to him, "Hey, you need to clarify this." He ignored it. He responded to me, but ignored my question and started being stupid and funny and all that. These people don't care about truths. Alhamdulillah.
Oh, it's interesting. Researchers accuse the Gaza Ministry of Health of overstating casualty data by including natural deaths, failing to differentiate between civilian and combat casualties, and over-reporting the numbers of women and children killed. So they're toying with the data in multiple ways.
Yeah. The cat lady said originally it says one soul of Israel. Just saying, there's actually a difference.
There are different versions of it in the Talmud, right? Multiple versions of it in the Talmud.
I think there are two versions in the Talmud. There is a difference between the Babylonian and the Jerusalem records as well, and the manuscripts. There is a difference where in one version says just one soul. The other the other version says one Jewish soul. The other version says one soul of Israel, and so on. There are multiple versions, and many of them are used.
Yep. Couple of things. One, even the one soul of Israel, that was talking about legal proceedings. So they're actually talking about, hey, you've got a trial and stuff. That's who you're talking about. But as far as saying that it only applies to Israel, that wouldn't make any sense given what that is a commentary on, because it was a story of Cain and Abel. Israel did not exist yet. That's a reference to the story of Cain and Abel. And when Cain kills Abel, since he killed all his future descendants, that he actually killed basically an entire world of descendants.
Yes,
that makes no sense to say this only applies to Israel or something like that.
Those weren't Jews. They weren't Israel. They were just ancestors of all mankind. The Talmud also says that God created all mankind from one man, Adam, to make it clear to everyone that nobody is superior by their ancestry, and so on. You see, that's what the Talmud says. Study shows Hamas counter lies. Alhamdulillah. The new Bronze Age collapse. Ask him if the Armenian death marches were also made up. Probably.
Wait. I'm cracking up looking at what they're talking about in the numbers. Other errors, some of which were later rectified, include adult casualties being recorded as children and men being wrongly recorded as women, thereby artificially increasing the number of women and children recorded as killed. So even the statistics that we've got on women and children, they're recording adults as children, they're recording men as women when they're reporting the statistics that journalists just mindlessly accept and run with.
Powerful.
This is wild stuff, man.
Powerful. Mr. Yesminok said, of all of Mossab Hassan Yusuf's long-form interviews, this was the best one in my honest opinion. Even better than with JP. Great achievement. Thank you. If you
that is a pretty good compliment there.
If you genuinely think that, I appreciate that.
Because I thought it sucked, and I was like, "What a crap interview, man!" Like, this is embarrassingly bad. He's my buddy, so I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say how bad it was. But just, hey, Mossab, tell us why you're so based and cool all the time. Wow, you're so cool. Wow, how can I be cool like you?
The funny thing is, I watched an interview that he had with some guy that I don't really think much of. What's this guy? The Cuomo guy. He had an interview with him, and I listened to that, and I thought, "Wow, this is really good."
Oh, Chris Cuomo, yeah.
I thought that was a really, really good interview. I prepared some questions I thought that I want to address that other people usually don't. Glad to hear. I see that it's getting good views, so yeah. Checked, it was at 30-something thousand.
Really?
Yeah, pretty good.
Pretty quick. That's pretty good for a long video.
The Seal of the Prophet said,
hey, I have to point out, there will be people who look at the thumbnail, look at the title, look at how long it is, and think, oh, that's another live stream. There are people who probably think that is one of our live streams.
It's only you would think that. Nobody else would.
Everyone will think, oh, it's 1,000 hours long.
There's literally no person.
And all AP ever does is live stream. So therefore, this is another live stream. Oh, I've seen him talk about Mossab in the past, so this will be more of the same.
There's literally not a single person who will think that.
Not realizing that Masab is literally in the video. You should put that in the thumbnail. Masab is literally in the studio with me.
There's literally not a single person out there who will think that, considering that on the thumbnail it's clearly obvious that I am with him.
Wait, you put yourself in someone told you to put yourself in there so that they don't think it's just another live stream.
I know, because at first I only put him there. Then I thought about it a little bit, and I thought, you know what, that's actually a good point. I actually did this in response to somebody telling me that I should put myself in the thumbnail as well. So whoever that was, I don't remember who it was, actually gave me the idea. I thought about it a little bit, and I thought, okay, it makes sense. It could be seen just as a live stream about him. I should clarify this. So, and I think this is much better. So, alhamdulillah. Whoever said that, thank you. PBUM, AP, what I should do to be considered a big Zionist? Well, I have big Zionist here. That is my title. I think you just need to be a Zionist from the heart, from the bottom of your heart. That's all it takes. David, I have a question. Wanna ask you right here to humiliate and expose and embarrass you. So, I often hear some.
Hey, this article is actually really long. What? Go ahead.
I see
Sorry,
some
I'm
responses from some people, some dummies who go around and say, "You Christian Zionist, you Christian Zionist, stupid." Some people respond to me and you talking about things. Oh, Christian Zionist, stupid. And the thing is, I'm obviously not a Christian Zionist. And
you could be a deeply closeted Christian Zionist. Right?
But there is a difference between somebody who is a Christian and a Zionist and somebody who is a Christian Zionist. Because what they are implying is that when they say Christian Zionist, is that you have a religious purpose behind why you support Zionism and the reestablishment of Israel and so on. I'm not entirely sure, to be honest, what your position is on the whole issue. From what I have seen so far, you have not been very much inspired by just an eschatological Christian Zionist perspective, but rather just independently supportive of Israel. What are you, a Christian Zionist, or are you independently in support?
When someone's, even if someone called me a Zionist, I would say, tell me what you mean. Tell me what you mean by that. If you want to know if I'm a Zionist, then tell me what you mean by Zionist, and I will tell you whether I am that or not, because you have different definitions, right? You could have a Zionist who believes that Israel has some sort of divine right to the land. Like God says, this land is theirs, and I'm giving it to them. Anyone who interferes, you deserve to get crushed, or something like that. I'm not thinking. That's not how I'm thinking at all. I have no opinion on that issue right now. I'm thinking mainly in terms of human rights in the area. I'm thinking it does make sense for Jews to need a place where they can defend themselves, because history shows. No, they cannot count on other nations to protect them. Other nations can just decide one day, you know what, let's round up all these guys and toss them into ovens. That has happened. In other words, they had a pretty airtight case for needing a place of their own after World War II. As far as where that should be, had a pretty good case, because you always had Jews in that area, and you did have more Jews who moved to that area over time, and that land was under British control because the Ottoman Empire collapsed, and that area was controlled by the British, and the British therefore had the opportunity to decide what to do with the land. You had Muslims in the area who wanted to exterminate the Jews. We know, because they were conspiring with the Germans on annihilating the Jewish population in the Middle East. And so if you're the British and you're looking at this saying, what do we do here? We've got Jews in the area. We've got people who want to slaughter the Jews in the area, and we're in charge of dividing up this land. These Jews are requesting that they have some land that is theirs, where they can defend themselves against these people who want to exterminate them. All of that makes perfect sense to me. Yes, it can suck in various ways for, this is anyone. I mean, the same thing happened in like Pakistan, where hey, we've got Muslims over. We got mainly Muslims, but some Hindus over here. We've got mainly Hindus, but some Muslims over here. And we need to divide up this land so that there's not just an endless bloodbath. So let's divide it up. Guess what? Some Hindus are on the wrong side of the line. Some Muslims are on the other side of the line, and so on. And you have to figure it out. You have to figure out what to do. Some people get displaced. That sort of thing happens. The other factor that I am thinking of is a kind of not sure what to call it, but basically communal guilt. Communal guilt. I'm not talking about a feeling. I'm talking about if the church, if Christians did not defend you as we should have at one point, and we have an opportunity at some future point to not make that same mistake again, I would say, looking at the past, you should say, okay, we definitely dropped the ball seriously in that regard, and therefore don't ever do that again. And so I'm looking at this from a variety of ways. But whenever, for some reason, whenever I am on the side of Israel on any issue, it's David, you're just saying the Christian Zionist and that you read the Schofield Bible and you think that because of the end times you have to. No, I'm not thinking about any of that at all.
That is very, 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 very nicely put, and this explains it. I can now, from now on, say, "You're wrong. You're wrong, man. You're wrong." When you think that David is a person who has these ulterior motives and so on.
And as far as and there is the idea that that is a really, really, really important piece of land there for its history and everything else. And do I want someone like Hamas in charge? No. Who do I think would do given the situation there, who do I think is going to do the best job? The people who are there right now. Because you and I have been there. You and I walk down the streets in the old city of Jerusalem, and we see Orthodox Jews in full Orthodox gear walking right beside Muslim women in burqas, walking right beside Christian priests and so on. And they're not all killing each other. That is very, very difficult situation to have there, given how hostile it could be. And we're there in the middle of a war. There's a war going on, and people are pretty much getting along. And that whoever can pull that off and make that work. If Muslims were making it work, I would say, wow, doing a bang up job. Muslims, it's not Muslims who are doing a bang up job at making that work. It's Israel that's doing a really good job making it work.
It is real. The struggle is real. That's a very, very, very goodly put. As for why I am clearly a Zionist. I'm openly saying that I'm a big Zionist. I have big Zionist energy, and I'm not.
Oh, by the way, what do you mean by Zionist? Because that's why I said when someone says, "David, you're Zionist," and I go, "What? Tell me what you mean." Because you could say there are people who use the term Zionist, saying that you believe that Jews have divine authority over the land or something like that. I'm saying that's not what I'm thinking, because it's become Zionists just mean, and then Zionists became, hey, we need a place of our own and so on. It became that like the movement. As of right now, it seems to just mean anyone who thinks that Israel has a right to exist and to defend itself against people who want it to stop existing. In which case, I'm a total Zionist in that sense, complete Zionist in that sense. Christian Zionist.
I'm just kind of enjoying here everyone making everything Palestinian in the chat.
That's what they do. That's what they do.
Urinating upon one another. That's what they do.
But what I mean when I say Zionist is I have a very, very deep interest and connection to Jews and to history, to Jews in history. When I think about prior to this, I have been in support of Israel and in support of a Jewish land. I never thought about it as them having a divinely given claim over the land. I always thought of it as a place that belongs to them, a place where they are safe, a place where they are in charge. And I like to joke about it, but I'm not entirely joking when I say that the entire Middle East would be better if it was all under their control, to be honest, as it looks like. But history has been very, very messed up. People have done lots of horrible things to each other and to Jews, especially in the Muslim culture and also in Europe. It is now the time to have a country where Jews are no longer at the mercy of anybody else, where they can be free and where they don't have to fear for something to go wrong, for something to escalate, so that they can be persecuted or kicked out or massacred again. I simply do not want to see that. I personally feel very closely connected. Since I went to Israel, I feel even more, significantly more closely connected to Israel and to Jews. I'm not entirely sure why that is. Might be related to how I grew up, the things that I have learned, and how I went against them, and how I sat down and studied the whole Jewish issue and my reactions to that. It might be a reaction to how I was taught a lot of Jew hate as a child, and then I have seen nothing but the opposite from Jews. I don't know what it is. I also felt a very deep connection that I explained, that I could almost explain as something spiritual when I went to Israel, and still do. Not entirely know what it is, but I just say, to me, I think Jews have a right to have their own land. Israel has a right to exist, and the perfect spot for that is the historical land of Israel, where the Jews are in charge. And I think all of it, in all honesty, all of it, all of the land that was originally assigned as the mandatory Palestine in the 1920s should all be a Jewish state. It should all be Israel. That's the only way this works. The other way, making it a conflict between two people, does not work. Giving parts of it to the other side does not work. The only way to do this is to resolve it the way that it was initially intended to be resolved in the 1920s, to recreate and rebuild a Jewish homeland in this land as it is, in that entirety of that shape. There, the Jews have done a fantastic job, and it's almost worth, you should envy it, not hate it, and see it as something great. You should support it, not hate it.
Yeah, so I gave several reasons. You gave several reasons. I would just like to tack on something that's connected to what you were just saying. There's a lot of people who want to annihilate Jews for being Jews. It's built into their religion. And those people have dozens of countries, and they read books calling for the extermination of Jews. Given that situation specifically, not just general persecution against Jews. I'm talking specifically, you have the second largest religion in the world, which openly calls for the complete extermination of Jews as one of the goals of the religion. And it's not saying just God's going to come back and judge the Jews or something like that. It's you, Muslims, have to exterminate them, or you don't get your virgins. You don't get your virgins in paradise until you exterminate them. Given that situation, really, and the fact that Jews in Muslim countries are going to have to deal with periods of persecution and so on, really makes sense that Jews have a place to go when they're attacked in various countries. Guess what? There is now. It's called Israel. So makes sense that they have this place. And on top of all of that, I think that in order for the world to move forward, I've said this repeatedly, Muslims have to learn the word no. They turn, lots of the jihadi-minded kind, turn into violent tantrum-throwing babies whenever they don't get their way. And that the most important word they can possibly learn, if there's ever going to be any progress, is they have to learn no, that they don't always get what they want. I think they should all be put into a room. All the jihadis, when they're captured, when they go to prison, should have the Rolling Stones song, "You Can't Always Get What You Want," playing on repeat 24 hours a day until they get the point. You do not just go on killing sprees whenever you don't get what you want. And the existence of the nation of Israel right now is one massive, gigantic no to the jihadi community. No, you don't get what you want. And they're trying everything they can. They're trying everything they can to throw tantrums around the world, globalize the intifada, block traffic, all this. What is it? It's one big tantrum, because that's what they do when they don't get their way. You have to learn, they have to learn no. You just have to keep telling them no. And you just have to leave the toddler flailing about in the checkout aisle at Walmart because mommy wouldn't grab him a pack of Starburst. He's still, leave him there for hours, crying his eyeballs out, screaming. He has to learn that's not the way to get what you want. And so Israel is simply good for the world and for the future of the world.
As the saying goes, Israel is real.
Yeah, that's the saying that we're all really familiar with.
Normal man said UN useless nincompoops. It's very offensive, very racist against the United Nations. Infinite Oneness, Dr. D, what in Islam makes it easy? Lead, couple up military formations like ISIS, Hamas, Taliban. Could these ragtag armies be inspired by something in the Quran? D?
No idea. Just a great mystery.
That's what you say. Okay, that's true. Gotop said most people during Christmas, Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer. AP during Christmas, Rudolph the SS officer. What else can you expect? Yeah, that's true.
What else can you expect?
I was hearing about Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, and I thought, oh, that reminds me, I need to read up on the Rudolf Höss transcripts on during the Nuremberg trials. My daily Nazi readings. Good point. Go up. Thank you. D. Boudreau said, did you see the Henry Jackson Society report about Gaza casualties being inflated to vilify Israel? Yes, just mentioned it earlier. This was probably before we brought this up. Definitely. We'll have to look into that further to have an opinion and to have a discussion on this. I wanted to tweet about it earlier and say, who could have thought? But I want to have a look at that even further.
Probably want to go through that entire article.
Yeah, yeah. Ed Garbon, you're wrong, AP. In Israel, there are Bedouin Arabs who serve faithfully, especially in combat, despite being technically exempt. They are supported at home. But why are you saying I'm wrong? I didn't say anything that is contradictory to what you just said. I'm just saying that they are not required to serve. So, did I say something that contradicts this? If so, I agree with you. I know that especially Bedouin Arabs happen to be quite different there and be supportive. So, alhamdulillah. Thank you. Solomon Lund, when this guy dies in battle, he's going to teach his virgins IDF combat tactics and go fight the jihadists. That could be a good story for a cartoon. A positive Allah, as an Arabic speaker, I want to commend you for keeping your composure when Mossab was speaking favorably about the Arabic language. I know it was super hard for you to do. I'm proud of you. I know. Thank you. I appreciate it. When he said that that Arabic is a beautiful language.
Yeah, I kind of threw up.
I was like,
I threw up in my mouth when he said that.
Me too, but you couldn't see it on the screen.
No, you kept your composure. You did a good job.
Yeah. It was very difficult. Thank you. It was very difficult. Thank you for recognizing this. Sheikh Mike Wingelinge, I don't think I have to say it, but if this guy ever was a Muslim like Abraham, he just murtaded live on stream, but he's a Jew until proven otherwise, you see. A positive Allah, considering what Islam teaches, wouldn't you say he has a form of cognitive dissonance? Look, you could certainly say that the IDF soldier who was a Muslim in question, that you could question his allegiances and what he gets wrong and what he gets right and so on. The thing is, when I see, in this case, a Muslim Arab soldier in the IDF supporting the IDF and supporting Israel and all that, as much as I would like to talk about what's wrong with his takes on Islam, I don't want to do that, In this case, I don't want to do it because I'm happy to see that a Muslim is out there and is supporting Israel. It's very difficult to see. I can reserve my remarks about Islam to some other time or to another occasion. It would be better to see more Muslims just reject the Islamist teachings and to turn toward something like supporting Israel, especially those inside Israel. appreciate that.
By the way, I think there is an interpretation. I haven't heard this from Muslims, but I think there is an interpretation that you could use to justify this reformist position. It would go something like this: when we explain jihad, we explain it in terms of stages, right? So you got stage one. That's when Muslims are completely outnumbered, can't hope to win a physical confrontation, and so on. There, you are supposed to, as a Muslim, I mean, according to Muslim sources, you're supposed to promote peace and tolerance, not as some lasting goal, but because that's what's in the best interest of the Muslim community. Later on, if you have greater numbers and you can actually fight, but you're not strong enough to actually subjugate the unbelievers, you are taught to wage defensive jihad. If someone else does something to you, messes with you, disrespects Muhammad or something like this, you can respond with violence, but you're not in a position to actually subjugate people. So you are commanded to fight if someone else does something first, but you are not fighting offensively. That's stage two. Later on, when Muslims had the most powerful force in Arabia, then the message became offensive jihad. Offensive jihad. Now you're actually going out and subjugating the population. You're taking over, and you're fighting people specifically based on what they believe. If I wanted to defend a kind of reformist Islam, I would say, okay, the Muslim community in different situations was given different rules for how they're supposed to behave. What's the underlying principle? The underlying principle is you should do what is in the best interest of the Muslim community at that time. Okay. What is, looking at things in a certain way, what's in the best interest of the Muslim community in the world now? Is it to be as annoying as possible until the entire world rallies and then crushes you? Is that what's in your best interest of the Muslim community?
Yes.
Not really. What's in the best interest of the Muslim community really is learning to get along with all the nations that could crush you, which includes Israel. And therefore, you should be trying to get along. Even from a Muslim perspective, you should be trying to get along, and you should be crushing the terrorists who are trying to ruin it. And so if I were to defend his position, I believe you can, using something like that. I just wish I wish some more Muslims would be saying what I just said, that, hey, the underlying principle of all these different commands and all these different situations is what's in the best interest of the Muslim community. And so get rid of the idea that what's in the best interest of the Muslim community is being as annoying as possible and terrorizing people at every moment to turn as many people against you as possible. Get rid of that idea. That's not what's in your best interest. What's in your best interest is getting along in the world right now.
Speaking of not getting into destructive fights with Israel, the new leader of Syria, Julani, said that
freaking dork, man.
said that Israel has no more excuses to strike Syria. They have already taken out everything they wanted to take out. So I call on Israel to now stop bombing. And I also want to say that what did he say? That they have no interest in having a conflict with Israel.
Smart.
And that what was that? He said that they are in no position to have a conflict with Israel, that the Syrians are weakened right now, and that they have no interest at all to be fighting with Israel. So that's that. That's what they said. That's what
he says. I agree. Right now, it is not in your interest to have a conflict with Israel. The question is what your long-term plans are. That's more of a concern. Because guess what? If your long-term plans are to crush Israel, as many people on your side would say, then it's in Israel's best interest to crush you while they can. I don't mean taking over Syria or anything. I mean, as far as the Golan Heights and so on.
Oh, he's quoted as saying, the exhausted Syrian situation after years of war and conflicts does not allow for entering into any new conflicts. We don't want conflict with Israel. Well, wallahi, we don't want any conflict here. Alhamdulillah. We do not want to do this. So we ask Israel to not interfere with us.
Yes, can you allow us to regroup and build more weapons so we can actually fight good war?
However, in the meantime, the Zionists are the enemy, says the right-hand man of Syrian rebel leader. Abdel Rahim Atoun, the head of the Shura Council of Tahrir al-Sham, recently hosted a rally in support of Hamas and consistently voices opposition to Israel. His rhetoric stands in stark contrast to the attempts of the group's leader Muhammad al-Julani to present a more moderate and neutral stance toward Israel. He says the Zionists are the enemy. Powerful. Inspiring philosophy is indeed Palestinian, yes. Just like everybody else. Considering what Islam teaches, yes. Al-Bog says, thanks, Associated Press and Daily Wire. You're welcome. Welcome. Ash McLeroy, wow, finally, this guy has a sensible Muslim upgrade patch mod 2024. Tezbot, does this guy give you hope that Islam can reform or not really? No. I would say that for individual Muslims to come out there and to go against the flow and go against the current is, of course, a fantastic thing to see. That said, I do not think that there is any possibility of a future with Islam where there is actual where there is reform and peace and any of that kind of stuff. It's not possible. There is no reformed Islamic world. There is no reformed Islamic future. The only way is to get rid of it, to dump it, to leave it in history, to get rid of it forever, to throw it in the garbage and burn it all, to leave Islam and to move on. That's what they need to do.
Yeah, guys, the word Islam means submission. Muslim is one who submits. In its religious context, it refers to submitting to Allah. And in the Quran says, the Surah 4, verse 65, you can only submit to Allah by mindlessly accepting everything Muhammad decided. And therefore, when you say, oh, we need to do this other thing and get along and not follow those teachings, those commands to kill Jews and so on, you can do that, as AP has pointed out, you can do that as an individual. You can do that as this guy's doing and saying, I don't want to live like that. Matter of fact, I don't even believe that that's the way forward. And so on, I'm going to go do this other thing. But when you do that, are you really submitting to us? Are you really submitting to Allah by obeying everything Muhammad said? No. And therefore, you're not following the religion. The religion is submission. It's you mindlessly obey what Allah and Muhammad say. If you're not doing that, you're not following Islam. And so there's going to be a problem. Notice where that guy is actually free to say what he said. Israel, where he's protected by an army. If this guy were in a Muslim country, he'd be in all kinds of trouble right now. And so it's the Muslim community that will crush modernization.
Samuel Johnson, she should make a version of C.S. Lewis's The Screwtape Letters, but instead about demonic forces, make it about jihadis and Dawaganda. This is what you should do, David, you see.
Oh, actually, so instead of Screwtape writing letters to Wormwood, it would be some jihadi writing a letter to a Dawa clown or something like that.
I think so. Edgar Bond, technically speaking, the Al-Aqsa Mosque doesn't interfere with the place of where the temple ought to stand. The dome does, though. Al-Aqsa is built on the artificial side with King Herod expanded. Well, still, I think it is just... I mean, it is a giant compound, and there is no need for a mosque building to be there. It was established for the sole purpose that for the sole reason that Islam, that Muhammad allegedly traveled there, that there is allegedly a masjid there, but there is no masjid, there is no mosque. So the Muslims came and built their stuff there. It is a holy place that has no significance, that Islam has no claim to, except that they appropriated it from the Jews. So Muhammad took it from the Jews, and this is all there is. This is the Islamic claim to the Temple Mount, taking it, stealing it from the Jews. I would say, yeah, Muslims should feel free to have their mosque somewhere in Jerusalem, but if they want to have a mosque, they should get the hell out of here and build it somewhere else.
And guys, this is one of the issues where I'm not a Muhammad mythicist, right? I believe that Muhammad existed and so on, but Muhammad's night journey and the Temple Mount and so on, this is one of the areas where this seems you have a really good case for thinking that this is a later fabrication. The Quran verse that they quote, Surah 17, verse 1, doesn't even mention Muhammad. In fact, the person who's mentioned in context is Moses. It sounds like something that happened to Moses, that God brought Moses somewhere to give him the revelations for the children of Israel. That's what it sounds like in context. And there are Quran only Muslims who interpret it that way. In other words, when they're not reading the Quran through the lens of later hadiths, they think this is talking about Moses, right?
Yeah.
But so it's these later sources that are talking about this as having something to do with Muhammad. Interestingly, the Dome of the Rock is filled with all these inscriptions, all these Quran verses. The Quran verses in there are like about Jesus. They're using a bunch of Quran verses about Jesus. It never crosses anyone's mind when they're putting these inscriptions in the dome to quote Surah 17, verse 1, or to talk about Muhammad's night journey. Why? If that was the reason for building the place, why don't any of these inscriptions mention that? The best explanation is that was before the myth. The myth came later. The myth came after the Dome of the Rock was actually
The
built.
myth, the man, the legend. So yeah, it would be for Quran only fans. It would be very, very difficult to explain what that is actually in reference to, without appealing to any other source. Alhamdulillah. Jan Schofield, AP, be like, there are two things I can't stand in this world: people who are intolerant of others' culture and the Muslims. No. The New Bronze Age collapse. Could the Third Temple be like the Arapacis, like an interfaith hub and the national symbol? No.
To be clear. This is AP talking. You're asking the wrong guy. The Temple Mount, hypothetically, I'm not saying that this is a good idea or that this would work. The Temple Mount is so big, you could actually say, when we're talking about moving the place, you could say, hey, we're going to move the Dome of the Rock over here. We're going to build this Jewish temple here. We're going to have a church here for Christians. And then you could do all that. You have enough space. Is that the way to go forward? I don't know. The point is you have this space for something like that.
No.
AP has given his ruling, which, as we all know, Israel and the entire world is obligated to abide by whatever he decides.
Precisely. Why can't we get along? Said Dawood has a WDS, Wenger derangement syndrome. You see, there's a diagnosis. Guys, you should use AI to translate your videos for Asia, said Razi. No.
I will say anyone who wants to translate my videos using AI is free to do so. You can put them on your own channel. D-Wood doesn't care.
Powerful. Kale Grady said progressive Muslim is an oxymoron to an extreme, but seems like this guy is one best kind of Muslim. Powerful. As said, individuals can always do that. It should just not ever be thought that it is that there is any hope for Islam.
Individuals can do that. You can never count on that happening in a widespread manner in Islam. You just can't. You can't hope for the future and say, "Oh, I hope there's this guy, therefore everyone can be like that." Everyone's not going to be like that.
Wait, Kaiser Collins said, "No, goddamn, put Tunnel of Love back on." How do you know the name of my song? Did I reveal that sometime? I think I did. I called it.
That was already a Bruce Springsteen song, so you can't steal Tunnel of Love.
No, I called it Tunnels of Love.
Okay, Tunnels of Love. That's okay.
When I made my song about Yahya Sinwar, it was called the Tunnels of Love.
That sounds like it could have a double meaning.
Yeah. Grafted Karkat says, "Thanks, AP." No, you thanks, Karkat.
No, you thanks. The Turkish people can't speak.
Sankey, you know who'd make a great travel mate? Mike Winger. I was going to ask him if he wants to come with me instead of David for the next trip to Israel.
Yeah, you thought you were miserable. You thought you were miserable and depressed when I was there. Imagine traveling with Mike Winger.
Gigi Ryder, AP and David Wood humor is so different from Mossab style. Not sure what you mean. We're very serious people, and Mossab is kind of funny. So, yeah. Syrian girl, if only we still had poison gas. She actually tweeted that. She said this is why we should have gas. When the Islamist rebels were taking over.
She's got to be hating. Have you seen all the people point out all the stupid stuff? Like she's saying, since the flag of Syria is going to be flying over Tel Aviv. And I was like, yeah.
She was predicting that that Israel will lose the war and will collapse, and then Syria will be in charge of the land of Palestine and so on. Like, so ridiculous, man. So
welcome
ridiculous.
To fantasy land.
Lost the one country that she had,
and then still keeps just blasting away at Israel. It's like, guys, get it through your heads. It's same thing with Syrian girl. Same thing. Learn the word no. You don't always get what you want. You don't.
The funny thing is, instead of acknowledging that that her side simply lost. Now she's making it about how it was Israel. Israel is behind these Islamists who took down Assad. It's Israel. Israel all along. It's all Israel.
Which by the way is fine. It's like, okay, if they can do that, if they can topple your entire nation that you love so much at will, blow the balls off your favorite terrorist organization, which they did, seems like it would be in your best interest, Syrian girl, to tread lightly. In other words, if I took this as their theories about how much Israel's controlling in the world, if I took those theories half as seriously as they say, I would not mess with these dudes.
Beast. Huh. I was looking for a response that I gave her, but now I can't even. It looks like she deleted many of her tweets.
I've seen her delete stuff because I've shared stuff to make fun of it, and then it disappears.
That's
like
weird.
when she, because it was only a little time apart when she posted, "The resistance will never lose, will never be defeated," and then like a few days later, the resistance is dead. But then I shared that one, and then she took that down.
I'm kind of happy about this. She posted this on November 21st. We are greater Syria. I said you can't even control the Syria you have, and just a few weeks later, now it's called the Syria she has.
Yeah, guys, look at that.
It's
November
collapsing.
21st. No, so not even a month ago. Look at this. It's going to be Syria. This is going to be Syria. Now you don't even have the Syria that you had when you tweeted that. You don't even have you don't even have lesser Syria. You've got zero Syria. You are down to zero Syria, girl.
Look at this. Just look at her Twitter feed. She's still ranting about how the Islamists are actually secretly Jews and they're working for Israel. Here, Golani is a Mossad agent. Is it clear yet?
Yeah. That's awesome. Yes, it's perfectly clear. He's Mossad. So Mossad led the Sunni takeover of Syria. Great. Stick with that, Syrian girl. Stick with that. All these guys who are backed by Turkey and everyone else who are taking over Syria. It's all just Mossad. They control all the Islamic terrorist groups in the world. Keep thinking that.
Powerful. Sarah says, more the intersectional feminist black women have dark babies. With any man, their semen overpowers any other. So they have the strongest semen, you see. That makes sense. This is very sciencey. Hobocop, am I missing something here? Because the Muslims cry about apartheid while Islam calls for making an apartheid state for every non-Muslim they conquer. This is true.
That's true.
This is true. You're not missing anything. People are simply kind of retarded, which of course I can't say. I would rather leave it to this guy to say.
But the people are retarded.
Alhamdulillah. Peter Marek, can we rename terrorists, which is politically loaded, to Quranic literalist, which draws attention to the crux of the problem, while also being less loaded? Motion denied. I would say that you could just use terrorist and still mean that, same thing anyway. Mark, my sciatica is Palestinian, you see. Yeah, there you go. Goatop said dingleberries are Palestinian. Is there any source on this? I'm not sure.
Source, trust me, bro. He has not provided any scientific evidence.
You see, there's no proof. Sankey, how did Muslim AP's ideal Islamic state look like? I didn't have an ideal Islamic state as outlined borders. I did believe, though, that without having a concrete vision for the future, I did believe that it is just our goal and ideal to spread Islam in one way or another, that the times will come when we will fight again, and that Islam will, in the end, rule over the world. It's kind of a funny thing to think about now. Joshua Wooden, what's up, Joshua? Order. The speakers may continue. Just kidding, but AP's Mustafa Hassan interview is better than every CNN interview in the history of media. Well done, AP. Is that supposed to be a compliment? Because I don't really take that as a compliment.
Yeah, it's like your interview is better than the worst interviews ever.
Man, Alhamdulillah. Will Mojab and Al-Dawa move to the shining Sharia example of Syria now to back up their words? Doubt it. No, they won't. No, they won't. They will not do any such thing. Naked Assad, do you think my friend Syrian girl will ever recover? Her complete brain meltdown begins to worry me. I do not think so. I think she has permanent brain damage now. Joshua Wooden, that Yahya guy that AP rudely called Yahya Sinwar, his sheep eating some Quran joke, is he the sect who hates Aisha? How could he joke that way? I don't really know what kind of a Muslim that guy is. He's like, he seemed to reject any hadith that he claims contradict with the Quran. What is with the Yahya guy?
Don't know.
Do you think he's on Quran OnlyFans or something?
No idea.
Huh. Interesting. Go to point of order is Palestinian. Soup Nazi to Syrian girl. No Syria for you. Solomon Lund, dingleberries can't be Palestinian because they scrape them all off with an odd number of stones. You see how civilized they are.
That's a good point.
This is a good point as well. Thank you. I will take that into consideration when I make my evaluations. Somebody brought up something earlier about Candace Owens. Candace Owens made a video that has how many views now? Let me see. She made a video about something that I have never ever heard before. Something revolutionary, something new.
Is it the USS Liberty?
Oh yeah, the USS Liberty is something that I heard when I was born, literally. How many views does this have? Where is it? Can't see it. Where is this? What is this? What is this? I don't even see it. 4 million views. And in all honesty, even my wife earlier said, why don't you make a response to this? Because we were talking about it. And
because you don't make videos, that's why.
And I expressed to her how, in very, very rude words, how stupid this is and how stupid she is for making a video about the USS Liberty, and how disgusting it is to be obsessed with these things, and how ridiculous it is to talk about these things, and how easy it is to debunk these things, and so on. And she asked me, why don't you make a response to these things? Why don't you make it? And I said, I then expressed that I simply do not care. And I also I
AP
really
doesn't care about Israel.
I really don't care. There is a thing. You know, we can talk about the Holocaust, for example, and there are people going around claiming that the Holocaust is overinflated, never happened, and so on. Even if they get lots of views, should I really sit down now and start making videos on explaining the Holocaust and how it actually happened? I think that there are some things that we don't have to all respond to. If people willfully choose to be completely and utterly retarded beyond help, I don't really consider it necessary to sit down and teach them how not to be retarded and correct them on things where they are obviously getting wrong. Go continue and be retarded. It will be sorted out eventually. Most people are not on your side. I'm not going to sit here. I don't want to sit here and talk about the USS Liberty. The USS Liberty issue is 60 years ago, 60 freaking years ago, Israel, during the height of the war, when the USS Liberty...
It was not 60 years ago.
An American surveillance ship. How long was it?
Do the math. 60? Ha! You have to wait till 2027 for that, buddy. We're not there yet. Get it right. Don't be rounding up. Don't be rounding up. Okay.
Sorry. It was.
If we can't trust you on your math, what are we going to trust you on? Come on.
Sorry, it was 57 years ago.
The truth comes out at last. Why'd you lie?
You see.
Why'd you lie? Why'd you exaggerate? Why'd you need to embellish?
57 years ago, Israel fired at an American surveillance or
Say
spy
it more epically. 217 years ago.
Yes, Israel fired at an American ship. And you know what happened immediately after they fired at the ship? You know what happened immediately after they fired at it?
They apologized and sent some people to try and rescue them.
They contacted the US immediately and said, hey, heads up. Our forces, due to a internal misunderstanding and miscalculation and problem, accidentally hit your vessel. So it was Israel immediately jumping in and saying, hey, we just hit one of your ships. Sorry. We just hit your ships. Let us know what we can do. Let us know how we can cooperate and fix this.
They spent decades paying reparations for that.
And they did spend decades paying for it. They paid for it many, many, many times. And we are suddenly still talking about this because some absolutely incredibly retarded people want to be stuck on something like this and say, no, it's actually, there's a deeper, darker truth.
They were trying to kill Americans.
They deliberately did it. Why in the world would they do that? Okay. So because they wanted to pull America into the conflict. Oh yeah, that's why they immediately contacted America and said, we accidentally hit your ship. It's just so ridiculous. It cost Israel nothing but reputation, trust, diplomatic ties, money, and so on. Israel gained nothing from this at all. They only lost from this. Only lost from this on the international scale, on reliability, trust, diplomatic relations, money, and so on. They lost everything. There is no single aspect that was beneficial to Israel in this.
Hey, everyone, keep in mind this is AP, who doesn't think this issue is important enough to even mention, because if you fall for it, you're just stupid.
If you fall for it, you are retarded.
But I will sit here spending hours trying to explain it. By the way, AP, as far as refuting some dumb idea, you're not doing it for the brainwashed moron who's just going to believe anything Candace Owens says. You're doing it. You're doing.
Somebody else falls for the propaganda.
You're not talking about that. You're not talking about that. You're not talking about that. You're not talking about the person who's watching it. You're talking about the person who doesn't know, who has no clue how to refute it. And you put it into this person's hands in concise video form so that when some idiot brings up and the person doesn't know how to respond, the person goes, oh, I don't know how to respond to this, but I can share AP's video in response to this. That's why you do this stuff.
All that happens to me when I look at dumb stuff like this is that my head gets more dark and I think humanity is just completely doomed, man. There is no point.
Oh, that's true too.
So that's that. And by the way, the same people who want to talk about that are out there supporting Hezbollah, for example, and calling Hezbollah heroes. Dan Bilzerian, same person who shared USS Liberty conspiracy theories and talked about how Israel is evil, is the guy who actually said that Hezbollah are heroes who are simply defending themselves. You know who actually deliberately hit and killed hundreds of Americans? Hezbollah. Eat that. Suck on that. All right, David, anything else? The true prophet said, AP, when you convert to Judaism, what Jewish name are you going to choose? We need more real Khazars in Eretz Israel. Reuben ben Abraham. Okay. David, anything else? Okay, good. All right, we will be live tomorrow on David's channel, inshallah. Tomorrow on David's channel, where we will talk about completely good things. And until then, as always, have a fantastic day. And
Ya Muslim.
Sorry, wrong button.
Homosexuality should be fine.
Sorry, that's not the button. Thanks again for watching, as always. Because it's hilarious for some reason. Here is the final message. And for those who don't speak goat, here it is once again in English.
Stay away from Islam.
Powerful.